Frank's retirement home. Where do you expect to see this pick go?
I think I've been seeing a lot of success with this pick in the jungle. You want this pick to be in a spot where it can move around early, not get locked down in a single position, but has the ability to scale. If you take this kind of pick and you allow it to clear some jungle camps, get a little bit of poke off and a gank here or there, but allow it to scale to the late game, that's where we've seen this pick succeed a lot more.
Yeah, just a strong pick once it gets that scaling online. On the other side, though, it's a Morgan Le Fay and a Sobek locked in. Morgan Le Fay, a god that can be played in mid, but it's just really coming to her own recently over in that solo lane, that mage solos we were talking about earlier. I don't know about you, but I feel like this is a pretty strong top two and an answer back to the Mammon.
Yeah, Sobek's going to apply a lot of pressure in the lane. You got a god who can just displace you, put you in a very awkward position, prevent you from getting back to your team with a tail whip on top of it. A little bit of sustain and a lot of bit of just go down in the murky waters, move around and tank up who knows what for how long, come up with a nice burst of damage. As for the Morgan Le Fay, though, this is a god who, as an assassin player myself, as a jungler myself, I get on top of and she just, okay, let me just knock you away and then fear you, and then what, I'm at 1 HP, well, let me just get up in my ultimate, hit you with all of these hits of my ultimate, heal back to full HP for no reason, because that's exactly what my kit does, and delete your HP bar in the process.
So it sounds like to me that you love Morgan Le Fay, and I do too. I'm glad we're on the same page there.
Oh yeah, just remove this god, please.
But on the other side, Kulkin gonna be the, or excuse me, Kukulkan, always mixing up those two god names, gonna be locked in, as well as the Geb to kind of answer back some of that pressure the Sobek might be putting out, and then the Surtur will round off the top three. I mean, do you think this is gonna be a Surtur jungle with Morgan Le Fay in the solo lane, or is it gonna be Le Fay in mid?
The Surtur is somebody who can apply a lot of pressure when he's in lane. He's got the ability to stun you when he hits you with one of your own minions, or maybe even his own minion, whichever he decides to get. Lock you down, get on top of you, deal a lot of shred damage. He has good clear potential. If you allow this god to get on top of you, he will punish you. Over on the order side, though, where we see this Geb Kukulkan pickup duo here, Kukulkan is a god who has good clear potential, has very good damage on his abilities, but the issue that you see with him is the ability to hit the abilities, especially that ultimate that we see, the Serpent and the 9 Winds coming out, mixed with a Geb ult or a Geb knock up in these ways. You're going to be hitting those combos. If these two can work together on this Geb Kukulkan combo, we could see a lot of team fights just getting ripped through.
Yeah, and then the secure potential that this Cuckoo was going to have with that Spirit of the 9 Winds to be able to just make sure they're the ones getting the Furies, the Pyromancers, and the Fire Giants once we get to that point. Going to be a good boon for this Order side team to have second phase of bans coming through quickly. Thanatos and Bastet taken away. While on the other side, it's the Sun Wukong and the Itsunami that are taken off the board. But the Artemis lock-in, a pick that's been kind of quietly on the rise, maybe not so quietly. How do you feel about this lock-in here?
I'm surprised. I look at it. When I see Artemis come out, she hasn't been out for, a while, since we've seen kind of niche builds with her. I think kind of similar way we look at the Bellona too. They come out in these niche times where they have kind of unique builds that work for them. She seems like a character who has issues just getting around, doing what she needs to, getting to that late game potential. But if she can get there, she's going to deal a lot of damage. It takes her a lot more to get online than, say, a Freya. But when you get to that point, no god's going to be able to get down on top of her. Who's going to jump in and get close to an Artemis when she's just going to tusky you, throw you into some vines, cripple you down in one spot, and then just shred you with her team?
Yeah, late game Artemis is absolutely terrifying. But as you mentioned, it's trying to get to that point. I'm going to be honest here, though, Zek. Cupid is the last god I imagined we would see locked in any game today. I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, but he is utter trash. Just the worst ADC in the game right now. And I'm scratching my head trying to figure out what we're going to see from this pick. What is Cupid going to bring that up? Am I missing something here?
I don't think you're missing quite much. The way I look at this Cupid is, who are you really throwing, well, anything at? I feel like everything's kind of going to get thrown in your direction, especially when I look at this Sobek Surtur combination potential, and maybe a Thor dunk coming out on top of it. The Artemis can press her 2 ability, walk right out of your ultimate with ease. She's not slowed down. She doesn't care about that. She can Tusky you, avoid the CC from your ultimate while CCing you on top of it, forcing you to use your relics for free. So I think this dual lane matchup over here is going to be one that's interesting to see. I do see the Cupid having the potential in the early game, getting maybe some clear over
Hmm.
there, but man, how's this going to shape up for the mid to late game come objectives?
Yeah, I'm a little worried because if depending on how you place that Fields of Love, you can just walk out of it. You don't even need to use CC immunity. It's just easy to get out of. The Heart Bomb can do a good amount of damage depending on how you want to build into it. The healing can be nice in that laning phase. Like I love Cupid as a god. When he was good, he was one of my favorite picks. He's just so hard to make seem worthwhile right now. I feel like our Order Side team has a really good squad surrounding the Cupid, so maybe that will be good enough to get them there. Do you feel like this Cupid is going to hold them back from getting this game one win, or do you think they still have enough to kind of pull themselves into this game, do the Death Dealers?
I believe that you need to look at this dual lane. You know, when you have the Artemis on the opposite side, on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents, I want to shove it down her throat, apply as much pressure as I can over here to possibly rotate into an early Gold Fury, early Beacons, be able to apply the pressure down this lane and force her into a position where she's not able to come back, she's not able to get to that late game position that we know an Artemis wants to get to. Maybe Frank knows something that we don't know when he's picking up this kind of god. And I would like to see the Death Dealers play to that. Shove it down this Artemis's throat and really make her regret picking this immobile pick.
Yeah, that is a good point and could be exactly what the Death Dealers are going to need to get this Cupid pick on a line. Something we didn't talk about yet is the Hercules that was locked in for Diddy here in the solo lane. I tried to lead us into mage solos before the picks and bans came through, and we just have two warriors over there who are gonna duke it out. Surtur versus Hercules, couple of lane bullies. Do you think either side's gonna have a clear advantage?
I believe that Surtur's going to be able to outclear him. Okay, that's a given. Like I said, if this god gets on top of you, he's going to be able to lock you down. Hercules, though, is a god who wants you to get on top of him, wants to get on top of him a little bit closer to his tower line. Surtur's obviously going to be pushing the wave to the tower line of the Hercules. Hercules maybe is going to knock him up, push him back in. So it's how these two space against each other is going to really determine how the early game is going to go. I think I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit of a switch up. Maybe put this Hercules in the jungle or the support role. Maybe kind of like shift some stuff around and see what kind of things you can do to apply pressure to your other lanes, because you are into a very aggressive warrior over there with this Surtur pick.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see how things play out as we hop into the battlefield of the gods and wait for buffs to spawn. We give us a chance to kind of take a breather, before the chaos that will ensue in this game, and take a look at some of the builds we're seeing come through so far. Is there anything that's kind of immediately jumping out to you as interesting or noteworthy, or does everything kind of seem pretty standard so far?
I can tell that Frank already ate today. You know, he doesn't feel like he needs to cook, but it looks like he realizes now he needs to go back and cook a little bit. He's still a little hungry. Backed off, got his recipe online. I see a sigil out here on the Surtur. You know, when we were talking about applying pressure into this lane, I think of Bluestone. I want to shove it down your throat, clear very hard, and just, like I said, shove it down your throat. When I'm picking the sigil, now I'm thinking sustain. And yes, Surtur has that sustain potential built into his kit. So maybe might see some interesting stuff as he is picking up a mace in this second item slot.
Yeah, much more defensive with the starter, but a little bit more aggressive with the first item, it seems like. I am looking forward to see where Likely Throne is going to go with this build. Surtur, always a fun god to watch as buffs spawn here, and we get underway with the action. I want to talk about this jungle matchup, right? Because Thor, a god that can get on so early once he hits level 5 and has that Anvil of Dawn, and we talked about how Mammon needs a little bit of time to get that scaling online. Do you think we're going to see a difference in play styles, or do you want to still see Beastie try to get aggressive on this jungle pick?
I think I still want to see him take it slow, get your scaling online, especially since your mid lane's a Kukulkan over here too. You got two guys right here in this middle section who want to scale up, want to get to late game, want to group up with the team and deal damage as a unit. Okay, if you don't get to that point, if you allow this Thor to apply early pressure, get his ultimate online, start pressuring out your jungles, you're not going to get to that point. You're not going to be able to scale. You're going to be in this struggling position throughout the game. I do, though, as I said, want to see them apply the pressure to the duo side. Get your scaling up over there. feed your pressure through that, as we see a little bit of a poke out come out here, finding herself a little bit out of position as she forces the beads out of the Thor and ends up getting away with her life, but not too quick, as Lord Poseidon ends up dropping it on and getting the first blood for the Mystic Sea Serpents.
Exactly what you'd want to see if you're a fan of the Mystic Sea Serpents there. That's a great start in a lane. We were just talking about how they needed to be able to get that scaling online, how they needed to be able to take the time to get there, and immediately already a kill going on to that Mammon who needs that scaling so intensely. Just an exact start you would have wanted if you're the Serpents. And on the other side though, Death Dealers, it's not the end of the world. First blood never feels good, but you're not going to fall immensely behind from just one kill in the mid lane. Does that kind of change what you want to see McGrizzle do on this Mammon? As we're going to have to hold that thought, because he's already getting aggressive. Just a little bit more damage, not going to be enough. It will allow Likely Throne to make it out with a sliver of HP on that Surtur as action continues all over the map. Now it's Frank who's in trouble, and Frank who will fall. That is 1-0-1 already for this Thor. That is a scary prospect.
Yeah, already seeing the pressure coming out from multiple lanes of the Mystic Sea Serpents. It's no surprise that we see the pressure in the mid lane. You know, you have this assassin with the Thor, okay, versus double mages. You have the Morgan Le Fay pick, who has much more utility in her kit than, say, a Kukulkan or Maman Brigitte over here, to where she can, you know, fear you out, she can knock you up, you get the Thor wall to stun you and block you out from getting back to your teammate, and that's exactly how we saw this first blood go down.
Yeah, that is just gonna be pressure incarnate for the Sea Serpents for a little while. You have to imagine. I mean, is there a timer on this Sea Serpents team? Do they need to be making sure they're continuing to get aggressive because of the scaling of a pick like Cuckoo and you know, the pick like the Mammon, or do they have an equivalent amount of late game scaling? Might have to hold the thought on the question though, because there might be a purple buff invade. Beastie under a bit of pressure, but will be able to get out. Can they secure their own buff though? Because there are 3 members of the Sea Serpents here trying to take it away. They will secure it. Do they get out with their lives? McGrizzle in a lot of trouble, gets hit by the wall stun and will end up falling, and elsewhere Likely Throne falls in a solo kill over in the solo lane. Purple buff secured, but at the life of your jungler.
Yeah, that Thor was able to get that tier 2 mace online, and while it might not seem like much, he does come back full health, full mana, and with a little bit extra power as we see him even sticking around wanting a little bit more. That wall just a little off the mark, unable to follow it up himself. Putting that Cupid in a little bit of a safe spot. Probably just going to walk away, you're out of mana, no issues there. You did get a kill.
I feel like if we had mana for that Thor, that might have been a kill onto Frank, but luckily it ends up working out with the wall placement and the lack of mana. This is just, the Sea Serpents are getting so aggressive right now, and it's really working out for them. It seems like Diddy on this Hercules is really the only one who seems to have pressure in his lane for the Death Dealers.
Yeah, when you look at it, you know, you were talking about the timer for the Mystic Sea Serpents. Unfortunately, I don't really think that they have one. You let this Morgan Le Fay get online, she's going to hurt. She's going to deal damage. She's going to have enough sustain to allow her to just sit around these fights, dump abilities on you from over the wall, and create a huge gap in your fight. You look over at the dual lane side, we were talking about this Artemis and pick and bans. If you allow her to get to the late point that she wants to, she is going to shred you. You will not be able to dive on her with what you want with this Maman Brigitte. What's she going to do? Dash into a Tusky? Put herself in a bad position. You got Tusky's going to channel to your back line with a Cupid who has no CC immunity in his kit. He's going to get caught out. What are you going to do?
This could be problematic then for the Death Dealers. Need to find something to get going. They do have that safety that we just saw there, but safety not available for Tectonics in the mid lane as another kill goes the way of Kaiba on this Thor. 3-0-1, 5 minutes into this game. This is starting to get scary.
Thor already able to finish that Jotun's Wrath. I say it every week as he's shoving it down on this bird. Picks up another kill himself on BC McGrizzle. Kaiba boy able to really show us what this Thor can do, as he has a 2-level lead already in the first 5 minutes of this game. Got the Jotun's Wrath online. He's running it with the Bumba's Hammer. He wants to push his buttons. He wants to push his buttons a lot. I want to start seeing this ultimate come into play. He used it once right there. Let's see it more. Let's see how much he can abuse lack of relics over on the side of the Death Dealers, especially since our Kukulkan has an Aegis. How is he going to escape getting stunned out?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with the cooldown in the kit, Jotuns is up now. That's tier 2 of Hydras to give some more. This is just, he's going to have that Anvil done way more often than you would possibly expect him to have that. Keep your eyes on where Kaiba is rotating through this jungle. I expect he's going to keep continuing to make these plays. Yeah, and going back to that Artemis that we've talked about a couple times now, we're gonna hold that thought though, as Kaiba is active in yet another lane, and here could be trouble for Diddy on the Hercules. But when is Hercules ever actually in trouble? Just kind of calmly walks away there.
I mean, you dash out, slow them a little bit. Maybe you'll knock them up and around as we see ultimates flying out over here in the duo lane. And Frank's able to pick up one for himself. Really good rotation over here from Beast and McGrizzle. But we see Kaiba Boy picking up another. We saw that ultimate. Like we were saying, no. Oh, might cut out right there. Kaiba Boy coming in with this ultimate, able to pick up another pick on this Kukulkan. You don't have the beads, you have an Aegis. And you don't even have your Aegis at that. You're on cooldown. Gotta play it a lot more safe. And he's showing us that picking up this Jotun's Wrath, getting that 20% cooldown early, almost 30%, and he's going to use it.
Yeah, this is an absolute blitz of a pace coming out of the Mystic Sea Serpents. And we were at 8 kills total in the game, only 7 minutes in. These teams are just non-stop scrapping, or maybe the better way to word it would be that the Mystic Sea Serpents and Kaiba are just forcing non-stop scraps between these players. It is just a hard pace to kind of deal with if you're on the side of the Death Dealers. What can they do to kind of slow the game down and allow themselves the farm they need to pull themselves back in?
What you can do is ward. You need to get these wards deep, and I'm talking like up by the green buff, by the purple buff, over by your red junction, your blue junction. Tell us where this Thor is going to be coming from, where he's going to be going, what side of the map is he going to be ulting onto us from? Once we get his rotations down pat, that's going to tell us how we can move around, how we can secure our farm. We need to hug the left side of the lane versus the right side of the lane, That's going to tell us where our safety net is.
Yeah, it's definitely, warding is so important, but when you're behind, it sometimes feels hard to get those wards down. I mean, it's just trying to spend that extra gold to get it, but Tectonics will get a kill onto Lord Poseidon to turn things back around for the Death Dealers, at least in the mid lane. Trouble in dual lane as well. Kaiba diving underneath the tower, but can't quite find the kill. Takes a few tower shots for their troubles, but Frank does end up living. But signs of life there. Tectonics, even behind as he was, managed to get that kill on his lane opponent of Poseidon.
Yeah, likely thrown here, forced into the ultimate, but I think force is a little bit of an understatement, as it's kind of looking like it's what he wants. Ends up forcing the ultimate out of the H Diddy, and Beastie McGrizzle's gonna get away with his life. Lucky that the Surtur over here, likely thrown, doesn't want anymore.
Yeah, good plays there. Plucked under the tower, but it is a Geb Cataclysm used defensively to make sure no further damage came through. The Grizzle health bar is making me nervous, but no real threat over there, and will end up backing now on that mom. And I mean, we're 9 minutes into the game, 9 kills on the board. It's definitely been action packed, and my eyes are still on Kaiba here as he rotates over towards the solo lane. Has that Hydra's complete now? Might be going into a serrated edge. I just don't know, is Hercules the gank target at any point in the game?
Hercules isn't so much the gank target as he is the only lane that you seem to be really struggling with over here. You have level leads across the map, and I think that the Mystic Sea Serpents are happy with that. But when you're looking at what's going on over here with H Diddy and this Surtur over here, he's just running him down. You have no mana, you're not getting your blue. He's shoving it down your throat on top of it, making sure that you just do not live during this laning phase. Already almost has a second item completed. Meanwhile, you only have a Brawler's Beat Stick. What are you going to do with that? You don't have any defense against me. I think that Kaiba Boy just wants to kind of ease the pain over there, and I think that's okay to an extent. At the same time, he needs to be realizing that he needs to apply the pressure across the map and push the leads that they do have.
Yeah, it looks like that might have been what he was trying to do there in the mid lane. Uses the Anvil of Dawn, but no real targets available with how deep they were into the side of the Death Dealers. We'll just choose to back up and secure some more farm for his squad. I feel like likely Throne cannot be feeling good right now as Tusky comes out here. Frank not really in any trouble though, able to just kind of sit there and take that damage, not worried about the CC that comes out of it either. But I mean, if you're behind on a Surtur as likely thrown is. I feel like this is Surtur's prime. You talked about it already. Falling behind is not good. Hercules, though, in a little bit of trouble. H Diddy takes some damage, but again, it's a Hercules. Why am I worried at all? There are 4 members walking at this solo laner right now, and now maybe he needs to be a little bit scared. Great dash. The boulder comes out. No world. He is still alive and almost turning around the kill here. Frank gets a kill, and Beastie McGrizzle gets the shutdown, and H Diddy is still alive. Beastie McGrizzle needs to be careful, but here comes Daddy Hercules to do some more damage. Now it's Surtur who's in trouble again. Tectonics, though, will get a kill onto likely throne before Beastie is taken down. All the while, H Diddy still alive in this fight, still impacting it. Will back off, and things look like they might fizzle out. That's a tanky Sobek. Will be able to just dash away. This Hercules, with just an item and a half, is unkillable right now.
This is what I was worried about on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents. You're going to be building a lead up over here, you know, and all of it's going on your Thor, be it at that. You know, he was 5-0 going into that fight right there, and then you're going to commit a little bit too much over on this Hercules. We see a little slight contestation over here for the beacon. Kukulkan getting poked out to half health. Looks like Death Dealers are going to walk away and be happy to let the Mystic Sea Serpents take the first beacon.
Ooh.
Although almost finishing off Feisty Lobster on this Sobek. He's 1 HP. Maybe they're not too happy to give it up just yet. But likely throne is here on this certain. Beastie McGrizzle ends up finding Kaiba Boy on the backside. Is he going to get away with his life, though, as we see him getting absolutely ran down, and it looks like he is not. Lord Poseidon ends up picking up 2 with a double kill, and they're going to make their way back over to the beacon. But like I was saying, you know, you have this Thor. Your entire lead is built off of this Thor at this point in the game. You overcommit to a Hercules at that, who has a Shield of Regrowth online. You find yourself losing that fight and turning an even game because gold was net neutral at that time into a 1k deficit. You know, where is it? Although, looks like they ended up just bringing it right back as they're looking for a Gold Fury.
They are looking for this Gold Fury right now. It's just Frank who's anywhere nearby, but will not choose to step up into this pit. Instead, Mystic Sea Serpents gonna pick themselves up the first Fury of the game. But still, the farm that's coming out of the Death Dealers must just be incredible because they're down in kills. They just lost 2 neutral objectives, but as you mentioned, net neutral on the gold.
Yeah, you know, you might be losing it level-wise, but as you said, farming is where you're going to win it in this game. Once you get up to 30 minutes, you know, it doesn't matter if you have a 10k lead, a 20k lead. We've seen it in games past where a team just wins one good team fight around the Fire Giant pit and runs it straight down middle and ends the game. It's anybody's game at 30 minutes. You get your farm online, get yourself these levels, and we see Thor coming in for a gank over here on the duo lane, but Frank's going to end up soloing out the Artemis. Savage Shine, does he end up getting caught out? But it looks like he's perfectly fine, happily walking away, and he has his team here to save him out. But my mom just saying, you know, I'm not here to save you. I'm here to maybe pick up a kill for myself, gets walled off, and Kaiba Boy is trying to get away as he's getting collapsed on by 4 members of Death Dealers, doing his best, gets up in the Anvil of Dawn, and it looks like he's going to be able to get away with his life.
Is barely going to make it out of there. Those cuckoo tornado ticks were ticking away, but Anvil of Dawn good at going in, also good at getting you out of sticky situations. Frank is just out here kind of proving us wrong. Now, granted, we're only 14 minutes in. This is not that late game hyper carry Artemis that we know is coming no matter how hard you try to keep it. As this game goes long enough, that Artemis will get there. But right now, 2 levels behind what Frank has on this Cupid, and Frank's making Cupid look pretty decent right now. I mean, I'm pretty sure I called the pick utter trash on the desk. I'm feeling a little bad about that now because Frank's making it look pretty good.
Yeah, you know, we were saying when it comes down to the early game, Cupid versus Artemis, Cupid's going to have that one all day. If he's able to utilize this to build a lead and not allow the Artemis to get to the late game, then she'll be perfectly fine. Although, as we see over here in the solo lane, not allowed to get to the late game is likely thrown on this Surtur, getting collapsed on by 2 members of the Death Dealers. You know, you're not getting any mana from your blue buff because you don't have a blue buff. You're not getting any HP because, well, the Hercules is just running you down. Thor goes up in the air here with the Anvil Dawn, looking for a target over here in the solo lane, maybe trying to get a cleanup kill, but let's see if he finds it as he lands on top of the Maman Bridget, running her down, but just getting away. 1 HP.
Not quite able to find the damage there. Is Kaiba on this Thor. Still 6-2-1, still doing a lot of work, but needs to be careful. Rotations in from the rest of the teams over towards this right side again. The Spirit of the Nine Winds just off the mark there, and everybody's still living for the time being. But Grizzle looking to get aggressive even below half HP. They want to take this fight on the right side. They know they have H Diddy on this Hercules, who's just been a monster so far. But instead of a fight, they're going to look towards this Pyromancer instead. There are members of the Death Dealers around. Or, excuse me, there are members of the Sea Serpents around, but unable to get there in time. The Death Dealers will pick that up, but Lord Poseidon will answer back with a kill onto the Mammon. And it's also Tectonics, who's very low. Gets the Stone Shield from the Geb. The Aegis is good, but it's too much, and likely Throne will pick up the first kill of the game for the Surtur. Now Kaiba needs to be careful. Good wall, good damage. Should be enough to save the life of the Thor. But Death Dealers, they're answering back in this game. Still 1k down, but at 16 minutes, that's not going to feel too bad. Frank looking to get aggressive again, but they're really pulling themselves back into this.
Now you say Mystic Sea Serpents weren't able to get there in time, but Lord Poseidon on this Morgan Le Fay actually got there and stole away the Pyromancer from the Death Dealers.
Oh, I missaw it. Wow.
So this game's going to remain at this kind of constant pace. You know, 2 objectives go in the way of Mystic Sea Serpents already with the first Gold Fury and now the first Pyromancer. If they can keep up and, you know, keep the objective pressure on the Death Dealers, which is what we need to see. You know, your guys are doing good getting these picks left and right, but if you're not getting these objectives, speaking of getting picks, as we see Kaiba Boy landing in with that Anvil of Dawn on H Diddy, wanting to make sure that we put this Hercules in his place. Surtur's getting back in the game. We want to ensure that he gets back in the game just comfortably.
Yeah, that's a big pick. We've been talking about it a lot. H Diddy just has seemed unstoppable on that Hercules, but he can bleed. Will drop for the first time this game. Back to base the hard way. Pick up some more items, as the next beacon should be spawning here relatively soon. Get to see how hard these teams want to prioritize it, but it's the Gold Fury that is the primary focus here so far, at least for the Sea Serpents. Oni Fury this time. The fight continuing around this beacon and this Fury. Difference in what they're looking for. The Fury's drop, the beacon getting charged. Is there anything that the Serpents can do to get in towards this beacon? It doesn't look like really going to be able to step up into it, and Death Dealers just take themselves a free beacon. Fury not even taken in the process, but that's a lot of damage onto McGrizzle. Has to use the Aegis, dashes away, but where can you go? Great blink to get out a lot of the damage, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to chase it down. I hold that thought, though, because Kaiba up into the Anvil of Dawn wants this kill off the mark with the landing. Can't quite find it. Oh no, the tower shot is enough, and Kaiba will fall to the PvE mechanics. Order Tower getting its first blood of the game.
I feel like we need a PvE death every game. You know, if we're not doing a PvE death at least once in a game, we're doing something wrong here, as Hercules dashes, gets a nice 3-man driving strike into his Earthbreaker, and it looks like teams are going to kind of try to walk away right here, but it looks like H Diddy on this Hercules is wanting more, as we see him running down. Lord Poseidon ends up getting plucked away. Team's happy to just kind of take a step back, look at it, as we see the Surtur finally making this rotation over here. Ultimate comes out from the keeper. There's the Fields of Love, forces the Surtur to pop his beads. Tier 1 tower falls in the duo lane for the Mystic Sea Serpents, and it looks like teams are kind of just squaring off right now, seeing who can get more poke off before committing to an all-out fight.
Yeah, lots of just non-stop fighting happening between these two squads. Interesting kind of playmaking there, as it looks like HD really wanted that fight. They committed a lot to it, but unable to find too much. I don't even know if Likely Throne needed the beats. It looked like he might have been able to just make it out of that Fields of Love just by walking, but the action continues as once again Mammon is in here in the fight. Lots of damage onto one, but Poseidon will get a kill onto Frank. Poseidon with yet another double kill this game, charging forward on this Morgan Le Fay, and the Death Dealers forced to back up and try and make it out of here. The Oni Fury still standing, neither team able to get quite enough of a advantage to pull that one exactly. Good pull by the Hercules there to get the Surtur back in, but it doesn't seem like Likely Throne cares. In fact, that's exactly where he wants to be. Now it's too much damage onto Diddy. Has to use the boulder defensively, but will be able to heal up and get away for the moment. Here comes the ultimate from the Surtur, though. The beads come out from Hercules. Just a little bit more damage. One more auto will do it, and that will be enough. Likely Throne will get some revenge on his lane opponent, as the Oni Fury is again started up now by the Mystic Sea Serpents. There are the Death Dealers nearby, but what can they do about it? Tectonics can only die, but Feisty Lobster's another PvE death here, as the Sobek can't make it out, and it looks like Tectonics does manage to live. Frank here to clean things up. We've been scrapping for what feels like 5 straight minutes, but the Oni Fury does end up falling. We get our second PvE death of the game.
Yeah, both teams really just poking out the key members of each team for that gold fear to even be taken. You know, okay, well, we don't have a damage dealer because you killed them. We don't have a tank because, well, you killed them. So we're not going to be able to tank this. We're not going to be able to deal damage to this gold fear. Both teams just going back and forth for what you said, almost 5 minutes. It felt like nobody really like able to commit to a gold fear because of how the fights are going. Nobody really able to commit to a fight because of the picks that were going left and right. Looks like we will be moving into a quick pause, though, so we'll be right back here with game number 1, Death Dealers versus Mystic Sea Serpents. Stay tuned. You still got me, Zach Vexel, but joining me right now is Scooby Daddy Doo. How we doing? Enjoying the game so far?
Yeah, the game's actually been a lot of fun to watch, just seeing a lot of different things. The action's been heavy since minute one. So it's been a great game to watch, a lot of fighting, and just excited to see who's going to come out on top of this one.
These two teams really have not slowed down. And, you know, we saw that especially with the previous fight. And we see that right now as we see Maman Bridget closing in on this level 17 Artemis. Just going to drop the Tusky and walk away as Artemis do. And very healthy, blinking in, following up his Beastie McGrizzle, trying to get something on this Artemis. But I just don't think it's going to be enough. Savashine is happily walking away. Ultimate comes out from the Maman Bridget, really just trying to chase her down. And she's just walking away. Like, all right, you know, I'm going to return to base, no issues. And now Likely Throne is on the aggressive. And he's going to know when to give up a little bit sooner. Yeah, these teams have just been going back and forth constantly with these fights, trying to get picks left and right without really many objectives getting taken at that. You know, just kind of fighting around them or just fighting in general in these lanes.
Yeah, and especially just seeing that fight, just like watching them just having just pressing the W key and just going straight forward for that when that Artemis is fighting. And you just now you see Beastly coming back into the fight and killing Likely Throne. Just like this Mammon is this very agile. She seems like she's starting to get in the beginning and getting her foot in this game now. And just like starting to put the pressure forward, like how you would think Mammons would you do actually when you see her in ranks and stuff like that. So it's great to see this Mammon actually getting her foot into the water.
Yeah, one of the big things we stated during picks and bans was if this pick can get to the later game stage, she will become a threat. And we see her almost finishing up these stacks in these Book of Thoth. That's going to be a very nice power spike right there as we see the Death Dealers pick up the Pyromancer. They got members in tow. They got the wall built up with a Thor here as we see the Anvil Dawn, Kaiba Boy going up in the air. Pyromancer gets dropped by the Death Dealers and they group up. Thor, all just off the mark, lands on top of the Kukan, ends up getting the stun off with the wall, but gets the beads out of Tectonics, but that's about it. Ends up hammering away himself, and it looks like Pyromancer's just going to be dropped for the time being.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate. If he landed that ultimate, that was just cuckoo dead there.
Yeah, these assassins, once you get on top of a mage, you know, it's kind of a, we're going to just delete your HP bar. It's what we do. It's what we do best. Kind of what the design of this god is, especially if we catch you out by yourself.
Oh yeah, that I love Thor. That's what Thors do.
Beacon ends up going the way of the Mystic Sea Serpents, but it looks like the fight is not over yet as we see them collapsing on the members of the Death Dealers. Low HP targets on both sides. Kukulkan ends up falling for Tectonics to Kaiba Boy. Beastie McGrizzle ends up falling to Lord Poseidon. And Savashine is going to get away with his life. H. Diddy ends up finding Kaba Boy on the back line. And it looks like the teammates of the Mystic Sea Serpents are kind of wanting a little bit more, but Death Dealers are saying, whoa, so do I, as we see H. Diddy right here just force a driving strike on two members of the Mystic Sea Serpents, forcing them back into their tower line, and it looks like Likely Throne is going to be likely the next target. Getting ran down by the members, but it looks like that is exactly what he wants as he finds Frank and doesn't finish off the kill. Both members of these teams are just kind of walking away, low HP, pointing at each other.
Yeah, watching that whole fight, you think that like one team is going to win one fight, and then now the other team has the advantage, and it's just now Mystic Sea Serpents are having the advantage, but it doesn't look like they're having the advantage. It feels like they can't do any damage to this Hercules, and he's just absorbing so much damage and just tanking so much damage. As Hercules is doing a lot for the Death Dealers and keeping them alive, and just doing this peel with this Geb too as well. Geb's doing a phenomenal job shielding and putting up these shields for their teammates to keep them alive. CC get free CC from that. It's just what are you gonna have to do like to kill these tanks?
I think what's really important is going to be your target prioritization. You know, who you're putting on what targets. You don't want your Thor going on your Hercules. You want that Thor getting on the back line, deleting those squishier targets like we were talking about. You can't really put your Morgan Le Fay, unfortunately, on the Hercules right now. Sure, she has the percentage health damage of that Soul Reaver, but she doesn't have actual percentage penetration. She's not going to be really taking away any of the procs on this Hercules being able to whittle down his HP bar. It's got to be the Artemis. You know, how can you set up for your team to get this Artemis onto that Hercules? What's going to be important as we see Thor finding himself a little out of position and getting absolutely deleted by Tectonics and H Diddy together, combination 4 members. Honestly, of the Death Dealers, yeah, kind of in a bad position right there. Loses his Aegis on top of it.
But just to see how, watching that fight,
Savashine ends up finding Beastie McGrizzle, but it looks like this fight is not over yet. The members of Mystic Sea Serpents are chasing down the low HP targets of Death Dealers, and it looks like Feisty Lobster wants to get a nice little pluck right here. We see him eyeballing the Geb, maybe Cupid, maybe the Hercules. Who does he want? And it looks like the members are going to collapse on the Hercules up here, finding himself a little out of position, driving strike on the likely throne, and he's going to try to walk away with his life. It looks like he's going to do just that. Stun off the mark, ends up finding the Geb. And it looks like both teams are going to be happy walking away with that one. Maybe looking towards this Pyromancer, maybe looking towards this Gold Fury, but it looks like we're going to move towards the Pyromancer.
I am completely sorry. My mic completely cut out there. It was a great, phenomenal moment. And watching that fight is just like how I said, it's just one side wins and then the other side's winning at the same time. But then at the same, you really don't know who's going to really win. It's like, it seems like we're at a very even battle. We see that Mystic Sea Serpents does have the gold lead. It does look like they're winning this game. But the way their Death Dealers are playing, they're looking like they're just playing this counter initiation. When Thor ulted and went back, not ulted, when he came into the game, into the back line, the whole team of the Death Dealers just turned around, and it was just 5 people on Thor. And it's just like, if they can keep doing that, it's just going to be a 4v5 every single time.
Oh, you got this double mage with your ADC combo. You got your Geb. Okay. This Geb wants to sit with this backline. We're going to display some people with the Hercules, force them into our backline, force them into this kind of funnel that we want over here with the Death Dealers, and just CC them, lock them down, burst them with the triple DPS that we have. You know, that's the way I'm looking at it right now. And I think they're executing it just fine. But like you're saying, you know, no team is really coming out on top in these fights. We're finding low HP targets absolutely across the board on both sides. One side chasing a little bit too far over here, one side chasing a little bit too far over there. And it's not until kills start falling and people get sent to the gray screen that we actually start to see a winner in these fights. And winner is a very light word that I would say, because it's only about a 3K game here at 28 minutes.
Yeah, to see the way this game is going, it's fight after fight after fight, but who's really winning the game at the end of this? Like we need to start seeing more objectives getting pulled, and just seeing like what team can take this lead and run with it.
Mystic Sea Serpents is doing a great job of getting on top of these objectives. Let's see if they can come on in here right now and stop the Death Dealers on this Gold Fury, as we see the Primal Fury get picked up, poked down to half health, getting down to a quarter. Mystic Sea Serpents members are making their way on in. We start seeing ultimates flying left and right over here on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents, and the Death Dealers end up securing the Gold Fury. But it looks like they're also wanting more, as we see Feisty Lobster falls over on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents. H Diddy picks up that kill, and Savashine ends up finding Beastie McGrizzle on the backline. Kukul Khan trying to get away with his life. 1 for 1, and the objective goes down. You know, and we're back to the same spot. Only really a 3K gate after that fight.
And like I said, it's a 1 for 1, very low health bars on the support and solo, and we still who's came out on top of that. Really, we see Death Dealers stealing that objective and getting a kill after it. So technically, Death Dealers did come out top of it, but we're still seeing these equal fights. No one's really coming out on top of these fights that they're having as a team.
Yeah, you're not able to really commit and say, okay, you know, we're healthy enough. Let's move it over to the Fire Giant. Maybe let's shove it down a lane, push our lead. You know, we see 3-2-2 towers, full HP on both sides of the map. You know, who's really shoving it down? Teams are starting to group up over here on the side of the Fire Giant. We see the Mystic Sea Serpents getting the early advantage on the Ward Warriors, though, as they have some very nice aggressive wards up on the blue end of the pit and over by Red Buff. And they're going to start picking up the Fire Giant right away. They're recognizing that the members of Death Dealers are nowhere nearby, but there is one member floating in the area. Drops a ward over here. Is Tectonics on this. Kukul Khan gets landed on by the Anvil of Dawn. Just a little bit off the mark, though, and that Fire Giant is getting low on its HP, down to about 5 HP, and it goes the way of the Death Dealers, end up stealing that away without the need of the Kukulkan. Tectonics ends up falling, and H-Diddy ends up picking one. Beast of McGrizzle picks up one. Lord of Poseidon ends up finding one. Also 2 for 2 right now, but the Fire Giant going the way of the Death Dealers. It looks like this fight is continuing, though, as Morgan Le Fay, Lord Poseidon, is finding himself very low, but so is Maman Brigitte. Like we're saying, just low HP targets left and right here, and it's a dead even game.
This is we don't like we need to figure out as a team, and both teams need to figure out what target we need to be calling, where we going on, and we can't be at this late stage in the games. We can't be missing those Thorals. We can't be throwing 2 ults out on one squishy target and then not doing anything on it. It's just we need to figure out what person's the priority person to kill, get out, and go into it. You think at the beginning of that fight, you thought that Death Dealers were winning it, and then here comes Mystic Sea Serpents taking that away from you right away. It's just we need to, as a team, need to figure out who we need to go on and stay on.
Death Dealers cleaning up some of these objectives, secure the beacon, secure the Pyromancer. Tower's still very healthy on both sides. I think all 5 members need to, all 10 members of both teams need to get in a group chat together right now and go, okay, we're going to flip a coin. We're going to do a lane. We'll start with that. Heads or tails, we take your tower, you take our tower. Go to mid lane. Heads or tails, we take your tower, you take our tower. This game really is just sitting at about 50-50 right now. Who's going to really just turn the tables, right? We do see 3 members of Death Dealers with Fire Giant, okay? 5 members strong, 3 members with Fire Giant. A little bit of a grouping over here over on the dual lane side. So it looks like maybe we can see some towers getting cleaned up.
Yeah, and then we could make sure that one team can actually get a significant gold lead. We're not even 1,000. No team is like barely even 1,000 gold up. We're a 500 gold difference at 32 minutes.
You're about to say 70 minutes? I was going to be
I
a
was about
little
to
worried. I'm like, how long have I been here? A couple of members from Mystic Sea Serpents might be caught out here trying to late rotate into this tier 2 tower, but getting forced out by the Maman Brigitte. She's chasing down Savashine, and this Artemis ends up falling herself to Lord Poseidon, and they're getting away with their lives over here. And over on the solo lane side is this Thor Kaiba boy who's shoving it down, trying to take a Phoenix himself. Splitting the map over here, gonna trade Phoenix for Phoenix, but unfortunately he's not gonna be able to get away with it. The members of Death Dealers are pushing into this dual lane Phoenix, and they do have bombs in hand, able to get a bomb off, but not able to get that Phoenix. This is basic FG? No. This is EFG at this point, so they don't have the backdoor protections, but they're just not able to finish off that Phoenix.
Yeah, and we see that when Thor did take that tier 2, he got a little bit of a gold lead, and then they took a tier 2 and left, and now the gold is back to almost equal. At 33 minutes, it is
30
equal.
gold. 30 gold difference.
30 gold. It is equal at 32 minutes. I have never seen a game that has a gold as equal at 32 minutes.
That last one, honestly, Beast and McGrizzle, a little too excited seeing Savashine's low HP bar. We see the Oni Fury getting bursted down right here by the Mystic Sea Serpent members, but it does go the way of the Death Dealers, even though the Frenzy got popped on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents. Relics are flying over there as well. Artemis trying to get away with Beads and Aegis getting thrown out. And it looks like first kill going the way of the Geb. Pineapple TV ends up picking up likely throne. Members of the Death Dealers are chasing down the Mystic Sea Serpents. Low HP Mars Anvil of Dawn ends up landing on the 2 tanks of the Death Dealers, and he's going to hammer away and get back to his Phoenix a little bit. Little happy with that one.
That is the first fight that we've seen that actually one team came out on top, and Death Dealers took the objective with a great Kuku ult and then killed the Surtur with Pineapple.
What's going to be difficult here is if they can take this Phoenix without the EFG. The EFG did fall off. You know, we got about 60 seconds left until it respawns, and they're still trying to shove it down, but it looks like now they're going to back it on off. Like you were saying, you know, one team kind of showed that they came out on top, but, you know, what did you come out with? 1 kill? It was a 1-0 finally? Yeah.
1-0, but we're improving. We're improving.
Yes, it is no longer a 30 gold difference game here at 35 minutes into the game.
We're almost reaching 2,000 gold difference. We're almost there. We're at Frank's retirement home, so it's a little slow over here, okay?
You know, I kind of like the coin flipping for objectives thing idea. I think these 2 teams need to kind of look in that direction. Might be a good idea. Oni
Yes,
waves are
most
pushing
definitely.
into that dual lane Phoenix. Might end up finishing it off if the members of Mystic Sea Serpents don't realize it. Those Oni waves are shredding it down. Oh, there's only 3 archers remaining. It looks like it's going to be just off the mark. Members of Death Dealers are grouped up over here, ready for this Fire Giant. Gonna find out some of the members of Mystic Sea Serpents who are just out of position over here because they do recognize that one member is not here, and that is the Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah, and that's a big significant member not to be there. That's a lot of magical damage not there, and Morgan Le Fay just being able to peel out, having amazing peel for your team, is just very strong. And having her not there is very impactful.
Both teams finally grouping up as 5 over here, just trying to get some poke off, trying to get the World Wars going over here and seeing who can force who back to base and get a little bit of a numbers advantage before this EFG gets pulled. We see H. Diddy stepping very far up here, getting surrounded by 5 members of the Death Dealers as he finds himself caught out. All right, maybe looking a little bit too aggressive, forces the beads coming out of him, and he's going to try to book it out of here, and he looks like he gets away with his life. Probably a little bit too far in there, if you say.
Yeah, but now he's going to be able to come in back with teleport with even more protection since he has protection glyph, which I believe is the best teleport in the game, giving free protections to a team, to yourself, and just being able to tank more. But as we see too, we're at 37 minutes in the game, and Zerber still has not upgraded her starter.
H. Diddy does teleport back in and ends up finding Savashine on this Artemis. Morgan Le Fay goes up into her ultimate. Cupid ultimate drops the Fields of Love, and it looks like we got some low HP targets here as Likely Throne is getting ran down, and it looks like Frank is going to find Feisty Lobster. H. Diddy's going to find Likely Throne. Thor is a little bit low here, and it looks like now we're finally seeing the Death Dealers moving themselves into the driver's seat, pushing down the members of Mystic Sea Serpents, and now pushing down this mid lane 5 strong members. Oh, some a little bit less strong than others with these HP bars. Is Lord Poseidon on this Morgan Le Fay going to be enough to defend a Phoenix push? But it looks like Death Dealers just don't want to go for the Phoenix. They're going to be happily back off, go over, secure the Fire Giant as 5, and then push down.
Yeah, it was a great fight with Death Dealers being able to get actually having 5 strong, picking out a target and actually winning. And it was an unfortunate event that you guys were low health and you guys weren't able to take the Fire Giant at that moment. But now it's the time to go take that Fire Giant, push the lane, especially that left lane, and pushing for that end game.
Yeah, Fire Giant, the way we look at it, you know, you want the Fire Giant to crack the base. But did the Death Dealers have a chance to crack the base right there? Yes, you have the low HP targets, but your 2 frontliners were very healthy. Could they have stepped up a little bit further forward, created that gap for you guys to get that Phoenix? That is what I'm kind of wondering. We do see them pick up the Fire Giant here. This is the safer play.
Yeah, we need to see them pick up this Fire Giant and do something with this Fire Giant and try to end for this end game.
Fire Giant goes down for the Death Dealers. That is enhanced Fire Giant on 5 members. 1 tower to clean up on the side of Mystic Sea Serpents, and it looks like they do want to get this last beacon finally at 39 minutes. We still haven't seen the Titan spawn, have we?
No, I don't think so. Have we?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, no, we have. Yeah, we did. We saw a spawn.
Okay.
Yeah, the icons go the other way. How much I pay attention to that
Yeah.
icon.
I really don't either. It just goes through my mind half the time.
Teams are too busy fighting over here. I don't notice when the Titans are going down, beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, no, it's more important to watch the actual people instead of the Titans fighting each other.
Yeah. Next time we'll see the Titan 1v1, don't worry. Death Dealers taking away the Gold Fury, marching down over here in the dual lane, trying to extend their lead a little bit and see if they can crack the base of the Mystic Sea Serpents.
This is the strongest, not strongest, this is the biggest gold lead that we have seen in this game so far. Within a 9,000 gold, almost 10k gold lead.
Mystic Sea Serpents need to recognize the fact that Pineapple TV on this Geb is not here right now, which means that Death Dealers need to play safe, regroup with their team, and hopefully not get caught out. Do have a lot of vision over here in the deep jungle on the Mystic Sea Serpents, and it looks like the Death Dealers are going to happily just kind of walk around, clean up the map, clean up the farm, and see if they can get some 3k pots maybe with this gold.
Yeah, we can see more damage coming out. We need to now start looking at phoenixes. What phoenix do we want to take down, and how are we going to do it, and what are we going to do? And as we look at builds, I want to point out that Likely Throne is missing out on a lot of defense right now. We're still having this recipe at 40 minutes.
Goes up in the air and ends up landing down on this back line. He's gonna try to get away as his HP bar is getting absolutely depleted, finding himself at half HP. A bunch of ults getting fired off over here. Or well, just 2 ults in general. Is Likely Thrones and H Diddy's. Still looking to push into this Phoenix, though. They are very healthy. And it looks like they're just gonna regroup, heal back up, and make another push.
Yeah, but being able to have Hercules on your team, he's able to displace any member of any opposite opposing team, and just being able to have that on your side is able to pick out anybody that they want and to kill instantly with this having this EFG up.
Here's the issue I see, and Death Dealers, we brought it up earlier in the game, is that they were doing a phenomenal job at responding to the Mystic Sea Serpents dive. They are splitting up nicely right here with a nice 4-1. They need to regroup, push in as a unit right here. They're responding very nicely to the dive of the Mystic Sea Serpents, but when you're on the offensive, you know, it doesn't really work that way. They're not the ones diving, but there is a very nice driving strike into a double kill. Mystic Rush. I'm sorry, Tectonics end up finding 2. Anvil of Dawn comes down on the back line of the Death Dealers, unable to find any targets. They're doing their best to hold off on this Phoenix defense. No damage dealt to the Phoenix as of yet. They're also low HP targets on Death Dealer's side as they are marching in, just trying to get this Phoenix. Thor ends up finding his way back, gets a nice wall stun, picks up 2, but the Phoenix does fall for the Mystic Sea Serpents. Thor Aegising out a lot of the damage from the Kukulkan, sees 2 more low HP targets, finds a triple kill, and the 4th ends up falling to Lord Poseidon on this Morgan Le Fay. You lose your Phoenix, you pick up 4. Now what? What do you got to do? You shove it down this lane. We're going to move on into a quick pause right here before we find the answer to that. We'll be right back shortly with game number 1 of Death Dealers versus Mystic Sea Serpents. Stay tuned. Well, I did say it would be a quick pause, and that was a very quick pause and unpause. Mystic Sea Serpent members are marching down the solo lane side right now, trying to make up as much ground as they can after that fight against the Death Dealers. We are about 40 seconds out from this next Fire Giant spawn. Maybe they can get enough pressure in these lanes. Maybe they can get over there to that Fire Giant pit, but the members of Death Dealers are going to be spawning very shortly.
And again, that was a great wall from Kaibu Boy. Awesome, great abilities on Thor's, being able to kill all 4 of those members and just being able to keep it alive for your team. It's upsetting that your Phoenix went down, but it was really worth getting that going because it knocked off all EFGs. But now it's going to be, again, a 50-50 for this Fire Giant. And with Cuckoo, you're going to have to kill this Cuckoo so he cannot steal this from you guys. And you're going to have to make sure he's not in that fire pit.
Maman Bridget Measty McGrizzle blinking into his own death, finding Lord Poseidon's ultimate on this Morgan Le Fay. Tier 2 tower ends up falling for the Death Dealers. Mystic Sea Serpents are showing that they're not out of this game just yet. Gonna go over, get the Oni Fury, maybe get a little bit of lane pressure over here to help them push into this EFG. Now 4 versus 5. I think what's very nice is the fact that it is the solo lane Phoenix that did go down. That means you have the ability to be over on this side, defending against these fire waves, even easier with the Oni waves. Defending against the fire waves while pressuring the Fire Giant. They need to take advantage of these next 30 seconds, get over to that Fire Giant pit and really show them what they have, because otherwise Death Dealers eyeballing this right now might just take the advantage from them.
And knowing not them being able to see, but knowing that they're all backing now it should be knowing that you only see the Surtur here. You should be starting this FG and getting it going and starting to get this EFG and see if you can take it without them even being there.
Oh yeah, you hear that Gold Fury go down. You don't see anybody crossing mid lane. We need to be picking this objective up as a team, because now it's back to a 5v5. You got that pick, but what did it really do? Looks like that beacon is going to go down. We're going to see another spawn of a Titans right here very shortly, and it looks like there it goes. Last beacon going the way of the Death Dealers, and we're going to move our way over. A lot of wards getting placed down over here around this Fire Giant pit, as you would expect. But a very nice deep ward is over by that red junction that looks like the Death Dealers don't notice as they're all walking across it.
Yeah, and that ward specifically gives you so much vision and knowing where they're going, what way they're going, and if they're going through the fire giant or to the pyromancer, and it's just a great vision and great initiation. It allows you to initiate very well with that ward placement.
It's very important to have those aggressive wards, but also have that counter vision on your side so that enemies, players aren't seeing where you're sitting over your walls, able to throw abilities with these gods like the Morgan Le Fay's or a Thor Dunk coming out on top of you, or maybe a Cuckoo ult coming in from over the top of a wall, you know, things that can just hit you out of nowhere without any warning just because they have the vision on you. A little bit of poke going back and forth. Teams are trying to pick up this enhanced fire giant. Hercules finding himself a little deep, hopefully not as deep as he found himself last time, although it did end up working out his favor. Spirit of the Night Winds does come out, but off the mark as he is getting collapsed on. His Tectonics is finding himself using double relics. Kaiba Boy ends up picking up the Kukulkan, and Frank ends up picking up likely Throne. Looks like Kaiba Boy is still sending in this backline, surrounded by the members of the Death Dealers, and it looks like low HP targets coming out, and now we're going up in the Anvil of Dawn. Who's his target that he has in mind? Ends up landing down on... Oh, he has the Maman Brigitte inside of him still. Coming down, forces the Aegis out of her, ends up picking up the kill. That's 2 for 1 over here around the Fire Giant pit, and some low HP targets over on the Death Dealer side. I don't know if they can contest this, but we know they very much well can, and there's a 1v1 going on from the dual lane Titans. Very good. Told you we'd see it.
Who's gonna win it though? That's the real question. Who's gonna win it?
Who's gonna win it? Who's gonna win the Titan 1v1? But who's gonna win against this Fire Giant play? Couple members of Death Dealers lurking in the area, or more so just H Diddy over here lurking in the area versus 4 members, and it looks like they don't want to give him the chance to even steal this Fire Giant as he forces them off of it and ends up falling to Kaiba Boy.
This fight has been so staggered. They are staggering their Mystic Sea Serpents is staggering their deaths. This allows not Mystic Sea Serpents, Death Dealers. They're staggering their deaths, and is able to do that. And being able to do that allows Mystic Sea Serpents to get the EFG, and now being able to push any lane they want and try to win this game.
Death Time is getting staggered by the Death Dealers. They have the teleport ready for the Hercules. They have their Titan here pushing into this Phoenix, getting some good damage off on it. They did get the solo side Phoenix as well. This means fire minions are going to be ready pushing in from both side lanes against the Mystic Sea Serpents as we see the Anvil Dawn land on top of the Thor. But he does have his Geb ready. Unfortunate rollout, ends up just missing. It looks like you're going to have to turn this fight on this Thor. Ends up just melting his HP bar. You kind of use as much as you can, and Kaiba Boy ends up getting shut down. To Frank, the members of Mystic Sea Serpents are coming across, racing across the board right now, trying to catch off these 2 remaining members of Death Dealers in the duo lane, and ends up just Lord Poseidon getting up another kill over here on Frank, ends up finding him. And it looks like Pineapple TV is going to just roll out, go away, and go, all right, you know what? We did what we could. We got what we could. Fire waves pushing in from both sides lanes. I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it was good to get at least Kaiba Boy Fire Giant off. So it's kind of a win, kind of a not. But now you have 2 Phoenixes down on the side of Mystic Sea Serpents. Where we need to see more aggression from Death Dealers in one side of this lane and try to split these fights, though, because they have to deal with these fire waves.
Yeah, Death Dealers are putting up a fight. Like we say, you know, this has been a very back and forth game. As you can just tell by the graphs, it was even for how long. Going down one end of the Mystic Sea Serpents, coming back into the Death Dealer side, making its way back to the Mystic Sea Serpent side. It feels like while the Mystic Sea Serpents are in the driver's seat, the Death Dealers are showing them, well, you know, we're going to drive around a little over on this side. We're going to drive around a little bit over on that side. We're going to make sure we keep this gold lead that we have. And we are going to keep on just showing that down but not out. That's been the essence of this entire game. Down but not out.
Yeah, and it's just like they're fighting on each side. And as we can see too, like Morgan Le Fay has 67,000 damage. This Morgan Le Fay is being very impactful. And underneath that is not even close to Morgan Le Fay's damage is Kaiba Boy coming with 43,000 damage. And having these 2 being able to do this much damage is saving this team for them and keeping them in these fights. This Morgan Le Fay especially needs to go. If you want to win these games and want to win, you need to get rid of this Morgan Le Fay and stop letting her do this much damage.
Oh yeah, when you're sitting at top player damage in the game by 25,000, you know that this god is doing some work. She has the sustain, she hit late game, she has late game damage, and we see the members of Death Dealers pushing into the middle of Phoenix, burning it down, even though 4 members of Mystic Sea Serpents are holding onto the EFG, and the Mystic Sea Serpents are saying, you are not touching this Phoenix. Likely Throne ends up picking up Beastie McGrizzle over here, and now they are on the chase. 5 versus 4 members. Spirit of the Nine Winds does comes out, but is a little off the mark, doesn't find a member over here. Anvil of Dawn does find the Kukulkan, forces out double relics of him, and it looks like H. Diddy is able to peel away his mage.
And again, we're just back and forth, back and forth. And they're dealing with the fire waves on Titan, so Artemis is a big chunk of their damage from Artemis is not there because she has to deal with the fire waves. And what are we going to do here? Now every fight's a 4v5.
Here's
And
the issue
it's
too
just
is, you know,
the Sea Serpent is just not able to win these 4v5s.
the issue too is that the Mystic Sea Serpents isn't able to defend these Phoenixes since they're so spread out with the fight against the Death Dealers, defending the left Phoenix, defending the right Phoenix, defending the middle Phoenix. You know, you're having just to be so spread out, and you're still losing your Phoenix over on the right lane, defending the waves on your Titan. There need to focus up, group up, take this, come up with a plan. You guys had EFG during that time, so what did we do with it? I mean, it didn't even feel like that was a successful defense.
No, and it's just we're 51 minutes in this game. Remember when I said 70 minutes?
Please
I'm
don't
calling
remind-
that we're
no.
going to be here for 70 minutes.
No, 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 no.
The way these games are playing, this is going to be a 70-minute game, game 1 and game 2. It is back and
Speechless.
forth.
Yeah.
It's back and forth. And it's like, even though you have EFG, you still can't win a fight. And it goes for both teams. You guys have the biggest buff in the game, and you guys still, like, it feels like we don't know what targets we're going on to. But we just need this Morgan Le Fay to come in and just show her dominance. She has 71,000 damage in this game, and we are 52 minutes in this game. Show your dominance. Show that you are the reason why you're playing Morgan Le Fay and just doing so much damage as yourself.
Without a doubt, but I'm pretty sure the problem is the Death Dealers on top of it had a very great plan. You know, off of the back end of that enhanced fire giant getting taken, they rushed it down with the remaining health of their Titan, plus a bomb from the Pyromancer intel, pushed down that dual lane Phoenix, ended up forcing that down. Dual lane Phoenix went down, the solo lane Phoenix went down, and now you have fire waves pushing from both sides, and that forced the Mystic Sea Serpents on the defensive with that enhanced fire giant, instead of being able to use that for their own aggression to push down, clean up these towers, open up the Phoenixes, crack the base of the Death Dealers, and apply the pressure on their end. You know, instead it just feels like they're playing on the back foot, and while that's great and all that they're keeping in this game, it's not allowing this Morgan Le Fay to really do what she is capable of. And we see what she's capable of, being up at 72,000 damage right here. She's pumping out the damage. They just don't have the ability to play the aggressive front.
Yeah, and we need to, and if we're going into maybe looking into like just playing the teammate going into like game 1 after the game 2 after this is like maybe having more frontline damage or frontline pressure forward, so you can, as the Mystic Sea Serpents, can do something and push these leads that they were having.
Kaiba Boy doing what he can to try to peel for Feisty Lobster, finding himself plucked away by H. Diddy, and it looks like Feisty Lobster's gonna fight falling still. Likely Throne then coming in looking for some cleanup, but ends up getting cleaned up himself by Tectonics, and the members of Death Dealers are saying, all right, your Titan's at half health, you're down 2 members, we're still pretty healthy. Yeah, sure, let's go for it. And they're marching down the solo lane right now with a nice little fire wave ready with them. Some low HP members still over on the side of Mystic Sea Serpents, and, well, no HP, more like it, as Artemis Savashine ends up falling as well. 3 members down on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents, and the Death Dealers are pushing into the Titan room. Ultimate's falling down, Fields of Love gets popped over here, and the Titan HP does as well. The Death Dealers ends up putting the game away. Game number 1 goes down. 54 minutes here against the Mystic Sea Serpents.
That was a game and a half.
Game and a half, 2 games. Yeah.
My thing
Minus Picture Man's.
to we need to go back to our drawing board for Mystic Sea Serpents. Don't let Kaiba Boy get these semi-global alts. Don't let Lord Poseidon get this Morgan Le Fay, because you can see this Poseidon Morgan Le Fay is pumping out 75,000 damage at the end of this, and died once.
She's
And
dealing insane
his team
damage.
still lost. And it's sad to see 75,000 damage from Morgan Le Fay. And it just seemed like that Mystic Sea Serpents didn't know what to do
You
with the
had
lead
this
that they had.
Absolutely. You had this great damage coming out from Lord Poseidon on this Morgan Le Fay. But when you look at the other side of the map with H. Diddy on this Hercules, I think the amount of displacement that this god was providing, he's constantly taking one or two targets, driving strike, I'm going to send you this way. I'm going to just Earthbreak and pull you back this way and bring you into my team. 4 members of my teammates, we're just going to collapse on top of you and deal your entire health bar. Maybe force your ultimate, maybe force your relics, maybe you get out alive, but then I'm just going to come back and do it again, you know? The amount of displacement that this god provided, I think, allowed for the members of the Death Dealers to just get the picks that they needed to slowly but surely apply the pressure in order to secure that final fight that we saw. You know, we saw Feisty Lobster's ultimate get forced over here on the Sobek. Then we see HC walk back up. I'm going to knock you up, pull you back, and then just driving strike you back into the members of my team yet again, getting that pick. And then it looked like the Mystic Sea Serpents just didn't know what to do at that point. Just tried to get in there and peel for their own teammates, but at the cost of their own lives and eventually their own Titan.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate that Mystic Sea Serpents didn't win this game, but again, Hercules displacement, pushing them to driving strike them to wall, Cuckoo ults. It was just amazing. That was a great time to do that, and it was just great to see that happening, and just to see Death Dealers are actually on the same page together.
Very much on the same page. Both teams did phenomenal, and even seeing a 30 gold difference out very late point in the game, I think minimal things that need to get cleaned up, but definitely both teams showing that they're not ready to end this set end in 2. We're going to see what happens, though. We're going to take a quick break before getting to game number 2 right here. Death Dealers versus Mystic Sea Serpents. Stay tuned, everyone. And we are back with our 70-minute per game set. Here, game number 2, Mystic Sea Serpents versus Death Dealers. Joining me on the caster roulette tonight is Lunar. How you doing?
Hello, everyone. I was hanging out in the background for quite a bit, but decided to hop in here when Scooby had to hop off. But it looks like we got some bans coming through.
Swapping around quite a bit, and we do see the Opwash coming out getting banned yet again. Athena, Chernabog, Tale as Old as Time, the Morgan Le Fay. I guess we don't want to see another 70k plus game coming out from a single god. And there's the Hercules. I'm not surprised about either of those two bans. The Morgan Le Fay, the Hercules, both on each team did very, very well in their respective rights. Morgan Le Fay just dishing out damage in a team fight, and the Hercules just displacing everybody and being this obnoxious tank, you know? There we do see the Poseidon getting banned out as the last ban, a god that's very flexible for quite literally 4 roles. And Maman Burjak gets slammed in on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpent side. First pick.
Absolutely. And I do know, like, Poseidon, to his namesake, runs Poseidon so well. And I'm not sure if he's slamming the big red button here, seeing how much damage he put out, and then was unfortunately losing the game. But looks like he might be slamming the big red button to get that Maman out, getting that damage out that can be put out. But we are seeing a Ganesha being picked up, not getting caught up in the bans, combined with a Thanatos over on Death Dealer side.
Yeah, Death
Very
Dealer's picking up
strong
this
picks.
Thanatos, a very early, very aggressive god who, if left to do his own thing, he's going to land on top. He's going to one-shot any of your squishy targets. And, you know, you keep picking him, especially if that Maman Burjak goes into the solo lane. If she goes into the jungle, you know, maybe you'll be down one person if you do throw her over as a mage solo. And we do see the Ganesha too, like you said, very strong pick. Somebody who can kind of sit back, peel for his team in whatever right that he really wants to. Maman Burjak wants to dash into one of my teammates. Well, not if I just silence her or grab her or have her dash through my ultimate, you know, just put my teammate inside of her. Yes, I do agree, Ganesha. Thank you for that. Sylvanas and Izanami gets picked up over on the side of Mystic Sea Serpents. High clear. That is all I see from that right there. We want to have our AoE auto attacks just shred down the buffs, get to lane, shred down the wave, push them in, apply pressure, and the Cupid ends up getting picked up yet again over on the side of Death Dealers. I think Frank thinks he was onto something, and maybe he's right, as we did see the W get pulled out over on them, and he was picking up that early pressure. Bans flying around back and forth. Over here with the Yu Huang, a very safe mid laner, and the Sun Wukong, a very safe solo laner.
Absolutely. And I know Savashine does great on Izanami, and just to kind of combat what Cupid was able to do last game, I think it's a very strong pick going into this. We are seeing the Cuckoo ban along with Anubis. Again, two very strong clearing gods. Anubis more of the health clearing rather than the lane clearing. But two very strong gods. We did see Cuckoo putting a lot of work last game. So it's going to be interesting to see as a Persephone gets picked up. Not a lot of Persephone games being played in Walker this as of late.
You do have a good scaling pick there with Persephone. She has a lot of team fight potential too. And, maybe if I'm looking at how this Ganesha and Cupid could synergize together, we're going to overlay the Ganesha ult with the Cupid ult, maybe send the Persephone ult in between two. Really good team fight potential so far from the picks over here on the side of the Death Healers, and have Thanatos just kind of run around, do what he wants, pick up some low health targets, maybe land on the lower HP, squishier targets on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents. Good potential over here. We do see the Thoth and the Nike the Nike getting hovered and Thoth getting locked in on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents. I kind of feel like holds the same right that the Kukulkan does. You have a god who can deal very good poke. When he does hit you, it hurts. When he sends that ultimate, you probably want a little bit more setup on the side of it, but when it hits you, it hurts. And the Nike does get locked in as well. A very safe solo laner who, good luck diving this one.
Absolutely. I know Likely Throne, I believe they played.
It's time for game number 2. Mystic Sea Serpents versus Death Dealers. Here we are. Finally, the game is a little bit underway. Got Lunar still with me.
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing tonight?
A couple of the final picks ended up coming through. We do see the Scylla getting picked up over on the side of the Death Dealers, and that Persephone, that means she's ended up going into the solo lane. You have any thoughts on that?
I'm not a strong believer in Persephone solo. The last time I did see it was a Kane set, I believe, and it did not work out very well. I believe it was Brotaco who was playing it. But hey, you never know what can happen. Never know what will be going on. We do see Conduit Gem built on her to try and get those minions killed a little bit earlier, trying to get that clear rolling. So this way we can poke out that Nike, which it does look like she is doing.
That is the one thing you definitely have to worry about over here with these mage solos, is their potential to clear. Persephone does have a little bit of an advantage in the early clear department, as Thanatos has a little bit of an early advantage in the, everything department. Over here in the mid lane, you got to worry about them clearing the wave on you, being able to shove that pressure into you. You're eating the damage from the minions, you're eating the damage from their abilities too, because if they have the cooldown, Thanatos making his way onto the Thoth. The root comes through from the Scylla, and Tectonics ends up picking up the first blood on Lord Poseidon with Beastie McGrizzle. And it looks like Maman Bridget over here, Kaiba Boy, has ended up wanting to get a little bit of a follow-up, ends up finding Beastie McGrizzle and forces the Aegis out from Tectonics as well. Wanting a little bit more, but unable to get a little bit more. Tectonics is going to be happy to clean the wave. I am interested in seeing this Aegis again. Now, granted, Tectonics is not going up against another Thor in the jungle dunking on him every 2 seconds as a Kukulkan. But I do still find it interesting not having that CC immunity for, say, the knock-up from the... Persephone ends up picking up Likely Throne H. Diddy, showing us that, just because I'm over on a mage instead of a warrior this time, I'm still able to shove it down your throat a little bit. But as I was saying over here, sure, you don't have that Thor dunking on you constantly like you did in game number 1 without the CC immune ult. You have a CC immune ult this time, but you still have that worry of some CC coming out here. You have the Thoth root, maybe Sylvanas ult, Sylvanas root, Sylvanas grab, the Nike jumping on you. I feel like there's potential for CC over on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents that Tectonics isn't really thinking about too much, to say lightly.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really does come into play here where Scylla was almost taken out that early in that wave 1, but did end up using that Aegis. But that CC can be extremely detrimental to any mid laner going on. So seeing how well she'll be able to handle that is going to be interesting. But it does look like we are possibly going to hit a pause here. We will be right back.
We are back here with game number 2 of Mystic Sea Serpents versus Death Dealers, and my caster dice have rolled me a ruler of men. Now, how are we doing today?
Doing all right, Trying to get through this set here.
Do you happen to be any good at fortune telling to tell me who my next caster is?
That's a tough one.
Tarot cards, something? Yeah. Tell me how the stars align, or did the stars alignment bring me to you?
It very well could be,
Very well could be, indeed.
In the future, it could just be me, as we see a nice solo kill come out. Nike versus Persephone.
Absolutely just jumping in there is likely throwing saying to H. Diddy that I'm not going to let you do whatever you want in this lane. A very successful dual lane invade coming out from the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents as they do strip away that purple buff and almost strip away the life of Pineapple TV on this Ganesha. Gonna be able to get away with his life 1 HP back to base and hopefully get a little bit of farm over here as Frank's from accounting.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a really tough lane to deal with. I mean, Ganesha Cupid have very little pressure compared to Sylvanas Izanami, who might be the most pressure you could draft in that lane while still having, Guardian and Hunter. So just super
Mystic
tough
Sea
to play
Serpents.
into.
Yeah, they absolutely picked this team comp expecting to just shred the wave. Shred the buff, shred the wave, apply the pressure, go for the invades, and I want to see Mystic Sea Serpents jungler on this Maman Bridge. I want to see Kaiba Boy showing up over there, getting the pressure over there, helping them do this, and really rotating that out early. I think that's what will change things out for them here in game number 2.
Yeah, low health Nike here. Thanatos on the inbound. Scythe on the mark. Nike ult is forced, but Thanatos might still be able to secure this with the ultimate.
This is the problem we do see with ganking a Nike. She does have that ultimate available. However, then there's the problem of the Thanatos on the other end. Okay, cool. So you have an HP shield, but it's a shield. That means you still don't have the HP, which means I could just go up in my execute, come down on top of you, even though you got that jump off. Well, now you don't have the escape. Kaiba Boy end up rotating in and ends up picking up a double kill on the solo lane, showing them they don't want to give up the pressure just yet over there. And it looks like a nice Sylvanas ultimate comes out over here in the dual lane. And Frank's able to get away with 1 HP himself now. It just fights across the map. We did see this a lot in game number 1.
Yeah, that was a really good peel from Pineapple. I mean, realistically, Izanami throws down that dark portal and Cupid dies. So great ohm coming out.
Gotta get that silence off. We're seeing a kind of expected pressure over here in the mid lane. You got a Thoth. He's gonna out clear you early game. Scylla, if she's able to get some items online, we might see a little bit of a shift. Although that Thoth is already showing us that he is stacking up way faster than she is. Getting up to these 23, 25 stacks almost now. Clearing these waves in an instant.
Yeah, not only that, we did see the Mammon go ahead and invade that speed. So building that lead just nicely in that jungle. And again, we do see another invade come out on that purple buff, going to be able to secure it yet again. And that really stinks for Frank. Just not being able to get that purple buff, being down in farm. It's going to be tough for him to come back in this lane.
Oh yeah, any rank situation, you see your ADCs ping, 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 ping on your jungler saying come on over, and ping, ping, ping at that as BC McGreasley is showing up on right now, getting up in the air, looking at whoever he is, lands on top of the Cupid, on top of the Izanami. Cupid ult comes out on top, and he ends up picking up the Sylvanas. Beads does come out from the Izanami. Savashine able to get away, but it's kind of exactly what you expect. I'm going to alleviate a little bit of the pressure, but that doesn't really help with the amount of, Thoth ult, a little bit off the mark. Doesn't really help with the fact that they are lacking the XP over there, but what will help is Frank getting a nice successful invade and hopefully getting a purple buff himself over here on this side.
Yeah, he gets a purple buff of his own. Thoth in a bit of trouble, still looking for the I'm a monster, and boom, there it is. Tectonics drops Lord Poseidon to the gray screen. Meanwhile, Beastly McGrizzle gets his own kill. Jungle.
Yeah, Kaiba Boy was making the rotation over there, trying to see if he could catch Frank off of the return from his invade. Got the invade, got the purple buff, but Beastie McGrizzle floating around in the area, able to make sure that his ADC gets out, and very nice from Tectonics over here, able to get that Scylla ult off with 0 setup. You know, sure, he forced the Thoth dash already. Thoth, you know, he's got options where he's going to walk to, but able to just free cast that, secure the kill. Nice, able to get some pressure here and kind of return this lane back to neutral here in mid.
Yeah, definitely get that a lot more close. We're looking at only about 10 stack difference on that Thoth, so nothing too crazy.
Here we see another rotation coming out from Beastie McGrizzle, goes up in the air, lands down on the Izanami, no beads this time to save her, and ends up getting absolutely collapsed on Beastie McGrizzle, picks up another kill on this ADC over here.
Yeah, and that's just great coordination. It's okay. Frank says, I'm going to go dash in. I'm going to go get things done. Persephone, a little bit low into this tower, not going to be seeing too much punishment. Nike might, in fact, die here. Tower shot does go ahead and secure that. Unfortunately, not able to dive that tower as well as they want to.
Towers deal damage. You know, you're only 8 minutes into the game, 8.5 minutes into the game. You're not going to be able to get away with something like that, even with a Nike ult. You got to think, okay, you know, we're going to play it aggressive, maybe a little bit of a coordinated dive, but we got to know when we can back off so that we're not overcommitting and feeding into this Persephone over here who's going to get to late game. I do like this coming out from Beastie McGrizzle on this Thanatos. Okay, he's recognizing the fact that the Izanami does not have her relics. I'm going to apply the pressure over here, get the lead that Frank wants, because Frank really put in some work in that last game and just doesn't have the ability to do so in this one. As we see the Fields of Love come on out on the Izanami, who does not have beads still, and it looks like Beastie McGrizzle's wanting more, chasing down Feisty Lobster on the Sylvanas, forcing out the ultimate, getting him down to 1 HP. Shell comes out, and there goes Beastie McGrizzle up in the air, coming on down and getting the execute on Feisty Lobster, picking up 2 over here in the dual lane, and it looks like all the pressure has been returned to Frank from accounting.
Yeah, that's just good coordination. It's like, okay, Izanami is just going to keep pushing up on me. They're just such a lane bully in the fact that they just clear and then they want to fight. So they're just going to be pushed up out of position. Just come gank, 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 gank. And it's just working out. I'm gonna need to see a little bit of adjustments coming out from the Mystic Sea Serpents. Maybe getting some more wards on that side, maybe some deeper wards, just so they can see that Thana before there's really any danger.
We don't see this kind of recognition coming out from teams for most levels of the game, okay? You know, you could be all the way from bronze up to masters, and we see players who, they'll get a relic in a lane, especially off of a jungle gank or something, but they won't do anything with it, and I really like Death Dealers doing something with it. Unfortunately, Beastie McGrizzle trying to do a little bit too much, moving into the jungle of this Mystic Sea Serpents by himself, gets caught out, gets picked off, and gets sent back to the gray screen. But as I was saying, you know, we don't see junglers, we don't see supports, people rotating in after getting a beads, getting an ultimate, getting something, and then applying further pressure by knowing that those options are down for the team.
Yeah, definitely. Those reganks are really what changed the tide in more competitive games. It's like, okay, well, they don't have relics. I can invest more. I can go back there and say, you don't get to play the game, you don't have buttons. If you can just force that person to lose out on farm, lose out on contesting neutral farm, you can just generate a lead without even having to kill them, just by making them fear you.
And that's where this build style comes out for the Thanatos, having the Jotun's Wrath, having the Hydras, being able to have 30% CDR at 11 minutes into the game, getting this ultimate off yet again, going up in the air again. HP shield Nike, but she has the jump available. Silence a little off the mark, but your little shield right there is not going to stop my scythe from ripping through, deleting the rest of the HP bar of the Nike. And this Beastie McGrizzle is 6-3 right now, only 11.5 minutes into the game. But Kaiba Boy is hot on the chase, wanting to get a little bit of a cleanup, wanting to get the shutdown, but it's not going to be able to find him as Thanatos does make his way out.
Yeah, HG hits the nasty Persephone ult there to really change the tide, making sure Malin can't get out and going to unfortunately die there. Just unfortunate, as the Thanatos can kind of get back even on the XP, but he's just putting in so much work around the map.
Very nice Ganesha ultimate into a silence right here. And it looks like the Death Dealers are saying we don't need our Thanatos to get kills over here, but it looks like they just might, as excellent peel comes out on the side of Feisty Lobster. Very nice getting his, oh, good pluck here as well. Forcing Frank under his tier 1 tower and just kind of locking him down for a little bit. And the beacon's going to go down in the way of the Death Dealers, although I have a tendency to speak too soon on this sort of thing, and it looks like I am again. Because Beastie McGrizzle's going to walk away from that one as Frank eats another tower shot.
Feisty going absolutely mental with these plucks. I think that was 2 or 3 in a row. Just plucking Frank on that cooldown, not giving him any room to think.
The unfortunate part, though, is that the tier 1 tower for the Mystic Sea Serpents does go down over here in the dual lane, and that's kind of shocking considering who you have over here with Izanami and Sylvanas. As we see a solo gank coming out here from Beastie McGrizzle, you don't have your teammates available to give you the hand, and he's kind of regretting his decision right now as the Izanami ult is forced, and he's forced to back away a little bit on the lower end of his HP bar. Does steal away the shield buff, though.
All's well that ends well. Thanatos gets out with his life, gets the ultimate out, and still grabs that shield camp at nice low HP. Definitely taking advantage of all of the healing that Thanatos provides.
And we gotta get down a little bit of low HP, steal the camp, you know, because I deal percentage health damage, heal up on top of it too, because collect some souls, you know, might as well. A little bit of a gank attempt coming out on the mage solo over here on the side of the Death Dealers, and the Persephone is finding herself on the low end of the HP stick. Kaiba Boy ends up securing the kill on H. Diddy, reminding him, yes, you are still a mage. It doesn't matter how much defense you build.
Yeah, especially having to deal with a physical warrior as well as the mage in the jungle. Just so hard to have enough defense to handle both. And even if you have that magical defense, with Mamon's passive, it just does so much damage based on your health that it doesn't really matter if you build defense. Oh, you're a full defense support. I'm still going to do all of your health and 3 abilities.
Beastie McGrizzle landing over in the soul lane with the Thanatos ult, but falling to his death instead, as Likely Throne picks up another, and 2 members of the Mystic Sea Serpents are going to force down the tier 1 tower over here. Scylla ult, I'm a monster coming out, 2 low HP targets over here, but Maman Burjet, Kaiba Boy is wanting more, forces out the Aegis from Tectonics. No, comes through the H. Diddy. Persephone ult ends up hitting its mark exactly. And Ganesha is chasing down Pineapple TV, is unable to get the kill over on Nike. Gold Fury does fall, though, on the other end of the map at the same time.
Yeah, able to go ahead and use their secure advantage. Scylla's on the right lane. They have their Thoth. They go ahead and knock down that Gold Fury. Grabbing themselves not too much of a lead. Still looking at about 1,700? Not even.
Whoever put this feisty lobster on a team, though, guys, lock him Sylvanas. Next game, lock him Sylvanas. Next week, lock him Sylvanas. He is landing these plucks. And just right into his team setup. Whether it's into his team setup or just into his own tower, this guy is just free landing plucks right now and pulling people in and just showing him that he has the mechanical skill to do so, and he will execute just as that.
Yeah, definitely looking really good. This might be one of those picks that you just have to ban. Ooh, feisty guy. Can't be having him on the Sylvanas.
Like to see if, you know what, show me that this isn't just a niche. Show me this isn't a one-time thing. Feisty really nailing it home right now on these Sylvanas plucks. Almost taken away, but does lose the tower over here in the solo lane. No tier 1 towers left over on that side of the map, but well, no tier 2 towers left, tier 1 towers left on both sides of the map other than mid lane right now, as we see a collapse coming in over on the Persephone yet again. Kaiba Boy really shoving it down on H. Diddy.
Yeah, definitely. Not seeing too many advantages they have on that left side in the duo lane, so just saying, you know what, I'm going to go after this Persephone. She doesn't have a full magic defense item yet. I can really just kind of burst her down, and doing just that.
Silence just off the mark, and Maman Burjet's able to get inside of the Thanatos. And the lovely duo of Kaiba Boy and Likely Throne are able to clean up the kill as well. 4 members moving around in the area on the side of the Pyromancer, and it looks like the Mystic Sea Serpents are going to pick it up. But Scylla and Ganesha are in the area, and we do see a teleport coming through as well. H. Diddy is back, is healthy, and that Pyromancer is down to half health. I'm a Monster goes up, I'm a Monster comes down, the Death Dealers secure the Pyromancer, and there are some low health targets over on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents. Mostly Sylvanas, who's kind of trapped by the Persephone out right now, and Nike's gonna just kind of Nike herself on out of there, but Sylvanas might have stuck around a little bit too long. Feisty Lobster finding himself in a very rough position, and so is Pineapple TV on this Ganesha. Both supports on each team. 1 HP getting away, trying to do their best they can, and it looks like we are going to have a little bit of a pause right now. Gonna be right back with game number 2 of Mystic Sea Serpents versus Death Dealers, and we'll see you soon.
It almost looked like it was buffering.
We are back very quickly, game number 2, and it looks like Beastie McGrizzle was able to secure a kill on the back end of that team fight, but doesn't look like it's a back end just yet, as he says, well, let me just pick up on a double kill over here, making his way around, looking at this tier 1 tower in the mid that's only half health, and 3 members of Death Dealers are very healthy with a lot more than half health, other than Tectonics on this Scylla, finding himself on the short end of the stick at 25% HP, and looks like teams are going to be happy kind of walking away from this one.
Yeah, just so much poke coming out from that Thoth, really going to dissuade any, further interest in that mid tower. Not going to be able to quite shove it down as much as they might want to.
Beacon has
beacon
spawned. Second
Beacon
beacon is
comes
spawned
up.
right now. yeah,
Beacon comes up.
Beacon.
The 6C Serpents in a great spot to go ahead and take it. Everybody on Death Dealers just backed. They didn't have the greatest of fights. They're buying their items and whatnot, and unfortunately, that is going to cost them the beacon. Just a little bit off timer on that.
Yeah, beacon timer.
Beacon.
Those jungle timers very important to stay on top of, but honestly, I'm seeing not much of a difference from game number 1 so far, and I say that on the fact that there is a 277, 189 gold difference. Look at that, 255, sitting right around here. We have been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth over these 2 games. It is absolutely relentless with these 2 teams not wanting to give way at all.
Yeah, gold pretty even, but we do see Mystic Sea Serpents with a pretty decent XP lead, looking at about 3,000, and you can start to see it. We see a level in ADC and support in mid, and then roughly even between solo and jungle. 2 levels, nothing too crazy. Thanatos up in the air, forced to retreat.
This Thanatos is really putting in a lot of work early, and I'm not saying he's not putting in the same amount of work now. What I'm saying is he's finding it very difficult to do the exact same thing he was doing in the early game, and that's expected from this pick. You have this early game pressure pick, and it just felt like he didn't transition it as well as he wanted to here into the mid game. He's going so far out of the way to try to get some picks, trying to get something right here as we see the members of Death Dealers setting up for a Gold Fury pick, or not before they look at this Maman Brigitte, though finding herself a little bit out of position. Looks like teams are going to be happy with a little bit of a poke war, but yeah, this Thanatos is really just kind of struggling to find what he's looking for, it feels like.
Yeah, he just went for so many kills in the early game. He kind of sacrificed some of his farm, so now at level 15, he's just kind of struggling to keep up with these health bars, being able to burst them down. So might be something they need to look at a little bit in the next game. Maybe getting a couple less ganks, but a little bit more farm, so they can continue into the mid to late game.
Oh yeah. With that back-to-back ganks that we saw over on the duo lane, where he was really pressuring out the Izanami, but it felt like after he got picked in return, there wasn't too much else after that. We do have good ward vision over here on the Mystic Sea Serpent side, so allowing Kaiba Boy to play up here very aggressively in the jungle of Death Dealers, but let's see if Frank from Accounting ends up spotting her out. She does clear the way very nicely and might get collapsed on by 2 members, but no, it looks like teams are going to be happy to regroup over here in the mid lane. Maybe look for a little bit of a fight as we see the Ganesha ult does come out. The pillars are down. Still damage comes out over the top, but man, these teams are really just poking away at each other as the Nike ultimate is forced. Sylvanas ult goes down as well. Thanatos 1 HP over here, and the I'm a Monster just off the mark does not find itself a target. 5 members strong from each side here in the mid lane. Thanatos does find his way back to base, as does the Nike, maybe, or she's just going to stick around because she realizes she's a little bit of a Nike, kind of still healthy. I still have probably in 25% of my health bar more HP than some of the squishier members on the enemy team.
Yeah, definitely. Nike just so tanky. But right now, I think we're looking at a problem with maybe target prioritization, I would say, coming out of Death Dealers. I really think that they need to be able to get onto this Thoth if they really want to win these fights. He just puts out so much damage from the back line. We see a lot of the damage that went onto the Thanatos in that fight comes out of that Thoth. So I think they really just need to look at him.
It feels like, yes, there is kind of a little bit of a lack of coordination from the Death Dealer side. They're not able to identify a singular target that they want, and they have the team comp to do it. We throw out the Ganesha ult, we drop the Fields of Love from Cupid over the top of it. Now, congrats, you have completely locked down a single target. Well, what are you going to do on top of that? Maybe throw our Persephone ult, maybe the I'm a Monster comes over the top of here and we just use the Thanatos for the cleanup, but it feels like this Thanatos is more on the initiating end of a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of makes sense. You know, you have the Persephone solo, so you're not going to be able to get too much initiation off of that. It's not, you know, something more conventional like this Nike or a Cullen where you just get in there, you press 4, and you just start hitting the closest person to you. So going to be a lot harder for him to kind of initiate with the team.
Members grouping up over here on the side of the Gold Fury once again, as we see a nice little 5v5 grouping with a little bit of a war challenge. Beacon's going to be spawning soon, but Primal Fury is up and ready, and it looks like Feisty Lobster is getting a little bit feisty, looking for a pick right here. Maybe trying to get a pluck off, maybe trying to root somebody in place to get some damage off and get some poke.
Yeah, definitely looking for some poke, but with a Sylvanas, it's kind of hard to make it too meaningful. So gonna have to be a little bit careful there. Iron Monster is used, goes ahead and picks up the Gold Fury. Good steal comes out.
Mystic Sea Serpents trying to pick up that Gold Fury, just coming up unsuccessful, as you do have very good ultimates, team fight ultimates on the side of the Death Dealers. You have the Fields of Love, you have the I'm a Monster, you know, they're able to just kind of out-secure you if you're not utilizing Lord Poseidon's ultimate with that Thoth, you know. I didn't see that get fired off at all during that fight.
Yeah, I mean, we saw all 5 ults come out from the Death Dealers, but only the Nike ult comes out for Mystic Sea Serpents, so they don't spend a lot of their resources in that fight, but I definitely think they could have spent a little bit more.
Could have spent a little bit more. Maybe they were saving for a rainy day, as we see a little bit of a grouping over here on the side of the Pyromancer instead. You know, you have all the ultimates now, and you have very healthy members on your team as well. Might see a little bit of something, as we do see the shell and the beads get popped over here. You know, well, team's having to get a little bit of poke, but that Thanatos finding himself out of position yet again gets picked off. Lord Poseidon ends up finding Beastie McGrizzle on this Thanatos, and it looks like Nike is wanting more likely thrown, jumping on in, and Maman Burjet's kind of floating around over here on the jungle side. Kaiba Boy's looking for a little bit something, but might be looking for his death, as he finds himself in the middle of 3 members of the Death Dealers, ready to deal death to him, as he is just running for his life right now. Mystic Sea Serpents do pick up the Pyromancer, and it looks like Maman Burjet only getting chased out by the Ganesha is going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah, uses the point to get away from the 2 mages and just manages to skirt around the Ganesha, and I just want to go back to how insane Feisty Lobster has been on this Sylvanas. Thanatos only dies because he hits him with the absolute edge of Sylvanas ult. Then into a pole. Just incredible Sylvanas gameplay.
He is really on the point. You know, like we're saying, I want to see more of this Sylvanas from Feisty Lobster. I want to see that this isn't just a one-time thing. Beastie McGrizzle ends up finding H. Diddy on this Nike and finding Likely Throne on this Nike, and it looks like teams are going to be happy cleaning up the Titans. You know, 1 member down on each side. Solo laners, who needs them? I'm surprised that Kaiba Boy was able to lurk around in this solo side jungle. I think Pineapple TV thought he forced him out enough, but Kaiba Boy was happy to stick around and see if he could get something else, and it looks like he did exactly that. You know, maybe a little bit more vision from, honestly, both sides to understand when somebody's sitting you around here, when somebody's looking to do that. And I mean, what do you have up right now that isn't the Fire Giant? You know, you should have plenty of vision over on that side of the map.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of that just comes down to, you know, they just had the fight at gold. They had all their vision there. They haven't really backed to go ahead and get more wards, so kind of struggling with that. At the same time, you know, it's such an even game. Are you really going to be warding like deep into your jungle to try to catch Kaiba Boy out? I mean, it's certainly worthwhile. He's been putting in a ton of work, but it's just so hard to justify those deep defensive wards.
Members and teams are starting to get up to this level 20 mark, and as you said, it is a very even game. Still only 300 gold difference. That is insane here at 26 minutes into the game, and it looks like Tectonics might be finding himself a little bit low, and he does, as Kaiba Boy ends up picking up the kill, and it looks like Beastie McGrizzle looking to try to get some peel, and Kaiba Boy ends up finding himself a double kill, getting on this killing spree over here in it. Savage Shine trying to find Frank over in the dual lane, unable to find him though, and 2 members down on the side of the Death Dealers. They are shoving a couple minions in over here, maybe trying to get some poke on this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, with the Persephone being able to just clear the lane so far out, they're not going to be able to get too much done with that, but could maybe see a little bit of a grouping. Ganesha ult used to kind of force out the Nike, not going to get too much done with that. Mamon's still lurking, but I'd love to see them just group and go for an objective here. They got their 2 picks, and they're not going to be able to really get too much done with it at this pace.
I feel like Death Dealers are really trying to reach for something here. Okay, you know, you drop the Ganesha ult, but what for? What are you looking for going on this Nike over here? You don't exactly have a damage dealer with you. Yes, you do have a mage in this Persephone, but let's look at her build. You know, she's not somebody who's going to be dishing out, you know, 70k damage like we saw with the Morgan Le Fay in game number 1. Gold Fury does go down in the way of the Mystic Sea Serpents, and so does the Thanatos ult coming down over here in the solo lane, finding himself a little low on the HP, but does find Kaiba Boy as the Thoth ult finds him unfazed entirely. Scylla's dashing on in right here. Tectonics is really looking for something, still has that I'm a monster in pocket, and it looks like they're going to be happy just walking away with that, maybe moving towards this Fire Giant.
Yeah, definitely looking towards this Fire Giant. It looks like they are going to start pulling. TP coming out from H. Diddy, getting himself over there to help with this zone. However, there is a Thoth on the other side without ultimate, though, so realistically, this should be Death Dealer's FG.
You still have I'm a Monster in pocket. You still have Fields of Love in pocket. You got the Ganesh ult in pocket. And now you have the Fire Giant in pocket on 5 members right here. The fight is going down. You recognize Izanami isn't there, and it looks like Beastie McChrystal is able to find Feisty Lobster. And it likely Throne is trying to do his best to run away right now. Ends up falling as well. Double kill going the way of Beastie McChrystal on this Thanatos. 13-7 right now. Showing us, you know, our doubts here in the mid game were very uncalled for because he's got everything under control.
Yeah, definitely takes his time, gets up to that level 20, and he is absolutely swinging now, putting in just a ton of work in all these fights. Their dealers just take a really good play there. They say, okay, you guys have been sitting up here at our T2 and solo. We're finally gonna come over here. We're gonna punish you, and then we're gonna take the closest objective that just happens to be that FG. Beastly McGriddle, unfortunately, just a little too close to the sun, falls in front of a Thoth, and that is the end for him.
Getting himself caught out. Now you do have basic FG, so no backdoor protections are removed right here, but it looks like the Mystic Sea Serpents are not willing to contest this Death Dealer's team comp on their tier 2 tower. But it looks like they do want the fight afterwards as Kaiba Boy lands a beautiful ult on Franks from Accounting, ends up securing the kill, and they are 5 members hot on the chase of the remaining 3 of Death Dealers, trying to do what they can, using every dash in their pocket to get away, and not realizing that Kaiba Boy is still lurking in the jungle over here, healing up very quickly.
Yeah, unfortunate series of events just goes from Thanatos dead to 3 down. You just lost your siege on the EFG, not EFG, just regular FG. But you get 2 towers. It's not the end of the world as long as, you know, you don't lose a bird here off of those couple of deaths.
Death Dealers are looking at it and saying, okay, guys, you know, we got our 2K, 3K. It's your turn to bring the game back. You know, we got to stay around this middle line right here. Tier 2 tower does fall for the Death Dealers, and it looks like teams are probably going to just walk away with that. You still have 2 members with Fire Giant, although this is a 3v5. If the Mystic Sea Serpents end up regrouping right here, which it looks like they are doing, it can very easily collapse on the members of Death Dealers, finding 1, looking for 2, but it looks like that Persephone is going to be able to get away with no problem.
Yeah, not quite able to go ahead and secure that out. Not able to get quite as many kills as they would need to really force that Phoenix, so just gonna have to settle, get the beacon, reset, maybe look at that Oni coming up. That is the next objective up on the map.
Look at that, though. You trade tier 2 towers off of a Fire Giant play. Game comes back to neutral. You get the beacon. Like you said, the Oni Fury spawning. You have Fire Giant on 2 members, okay? But it's not like the Mystic Sea Serpents are willing to give any ground here. They are grouping. They are getting their wards deep. Death Dealers are trying to do the exact same. They're trying to group up. They're finding themselves getting picked off, 1 here, 1 there. And it feels like there's no good direction that they can go to get a nice, clean wipe and extend their lead and, well, create a lead at that, should I say.
Yeah, definitely Mystic Sea Serpent's been on the backswing just a little bit. Couldn't tell by the gold, but just not quite able to get the objectives they want as we see what looks to be an all-out brawl coming for this Gold Fury.
No team wanting to let this Gold Fury go, and they still got Fire Giant on 2 members, 2 mages at that, you know, one of them being Tectonics on this Scylla, who's really landing some good abilities throughout this game. Still having that Fire Giant for a few more seconds here. Might want to take the advantage in this fight.
Yeah, a couple seconds left. Fire Giant should be dropping off right about now as we go into this Gold Fury 32-minute mark. When you get to that, 35, 40-minute mark, one good team fight can just seal the game. As we see Mom and Brigitte over on that solo side of the map, looking at a 4v5 over here. Let's see if Death Dealers are able to take advantage of it.
Death Dealers need to recognize right now, they saw her on that minion wave. The most that's going to stop her is a tier 2 tower. They have to move in right here. Mystic Sea Serpents are down a man. Thotho comes ripping through. Death Dealers do secure the Oni Fury, and I'm a Monster secures Savashine, deleting the HP bar that Izanami, and it looks like they're wanting more as that Thanatos ult goes up. Thanatos ult comes down, and Nike does the exact same. She is running away with her life, but good luck running away from the Thanatos as he just moves a little bit quicker than you when you're at low HP. Sylvanas now finding himself on the back foot, running away. This Thanatos getting rooted, forcing into the Aegis. Good attempt from Peel for the Sylvanas, but Feisty Lobster does fall to Beastie McGrizzle as well. Maman Brujette is trying to push down this tower, but you're against an ADC now and a Cupid. And then the late game, yeah, good luck. Now you're kind of fighting a Phoenix with no minions. Down to half HP, you might end up getting collapsed on, or you might just get soloed yourself as the Cupid is chasing you down, landing one auto attack, and there he finds it. Frank ends up finding Kaiba Boy over here in the solo lane, and the members of Death Dealers are moving to the enhanced Fire Giant, picking it up as we see it getting down to the 60% health. Both lurking in the area, no ults ready. 50% health is this Fire Giant.
Ult isn't ready. Is he able to get it off?
Charging it, sends it, and the Death Dealers still secure the enhanced Fire Giant. A very good attempt over here from Lord Poseidon.
Yeah, unfortunately, Tectonics with the I'm a Monster just slightly out secures Lord Poseidon there. Not quite able to steal that EFG away, and this is going to be really tough for the Mystic Sea Serpents to come back from. That's EFG on 5. 1 tower remaining. This is going to be a fight.
They proved us wrong in game number 1, so let's see if the Death Dealers can really make some headway here. Honestly, I think Kaiba Boy was getting a little bit antsy, you know, seeing how neutral this game was for so long, trying to make something happen, and unfortunately, I just don't think you can do that because you leave your team down a member over there at the Gold Fury fight trying to contest that. They do try to contest it, and when we see what happens, it's a 4v5 fight, and you just kind of get wiped.
Yeah, just not quite able to get the bird, not quite able to take that fight. I think that they really just kind of had to focus on one or the other, saying, okay, well, we can't contest the Gold Fury, but at least, we're going to go look for that bird. We're going to try to get that. Instead, they go for that 4v5 fight, and they just aren't able to really contest with the amount of damage coming out.
Without a doubt, that's what I was looking for. Something that they need to just look together as a team, make a collective decision, say, give it up, we're going to move over here. Give it up, we're going to go and do something else. Let them get the Gold Fury, and we'll get the Phoenix. And who knows, maybe they won't get the Gold Fury at all because they'll try to respond to you. 5 members pushing into this tier 2 tower, and it looks like the members of Mystic Sea Serpent are trying their best and doing their best indeed, as we see Kaiba Boy end up picking up Frank from accounting. I'm a Monster goes up, I'm a Monster comes down, and Beastie McGrizzle ends up finding Kaiba Boy. We got a 1-for-1 trade so far on this tier 2 tower defense, and a lot of low HP bars across the board, and well, unfortunately they didn't defend the tier 2 tower too well. It did end up falling during that process, and the members are just going to kind of walk away and recollect themselves, and no more towers on the map for the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents.
Yeah, I mean, they aren't able to defend that tier 2 tower, but they take away the most important member with that FG. Frank taken off the map and not going to have an ADC ignoring those backdoor protections, so going to be a lot tougher for them to siege.
You still have a minute and a half on this EFG. Okay, beacons up, cool, but 4 members with EFG, and what are you going to do? Shove it down mid, maybe? Look to get some Phoenix pressure right here. You do have a bomb in pocket, so that will allow you to kind of eliminate half the HP bar of a Phoenix if you do get yourself underneath. I think there are some good options right here for the Death Dealers to further extend their lead, and looks like they might move towards this Gold Fury right now as they secure the next beacon.
Yeah, definitely. Without their ADC having that EFG, they're definitely playing a little bit slower, a little bit safer, saying, we might not be able to knock down all the birds right now, might not be able to end the game, but we're going to finally for the first time this game, generate that lead that's going to bring us to victory.
Picking up that Primal Fury as Death Dealers, that's going to help them out in this next Fire Giant fight. But they're not done yet, as they do have another 45 seconds left on this Fire Giant, trying to get one last push over here in the dual lane, cleaning up the minions, forcing their minions down on in, seeing if they can maybe strip away a Phoenix that's going to help them even further in the next Fire Giant push.
Yeah, looking at about 30 seconds left on their EFG, so not too many opportunities left to push. They're really going to have to make their stand now. With the bomb, though, this could be relatively easy to take down. Kaiba Boy also on the other side of the map, but it looks like not going to be able to commit to that, saying, I don't know, I'm not sure if we're really going to be able to get this. This Thoth and Sylvanas have been doing just too much work for us to really commit to this.
I'm surprised the Death Dealers aren't full on committing. You know, you see Kaiba Boy over on the solo side of the map, not present right now. And in my opinion, he was one of the big deciding factors in the previous fight, as we see him back and coming on in along with the rest of the team from the Mystic Sea Serpents, making a play right here. But unfortunately, Likely Throne just kind of winning that by himself. Got a lot of HP bars low over here, but here comes the Maman Brigitte. And there goes the Maman Brigitte as Kaiba Boy ends up falling. Two members down for the side of Mystic Sea Serpents, and it looks like Death Dealers are going to make their way right back down this lane, marching down, looking for a Sylvanas, but I'm a Monster just off the mark. Couple low HP bars over here, and Sylvanas doing his absolute best, but Feisty Lobster's best is not enough. The Phoenix on the dual lane side ends up going down, and 5 members of the Death Dealers are pushing into the Fountain of the Mystic Sea Serpents.
Yeah, 5 members low HP bars, though. This Thoth puts out so much damage, they have to be really careful if they want to push this, and it looks like taking a couple warning shots is going to go ahead and make them back up and rethink that. So that puts them in a great spot for that next FG.
Respecting the fact that this Thoth is up, the Izanami's up, they can still dish out a lot of damage with the 2 carries over here on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents. They're going to back on off, and hopefully they back off quick enough. Otherwise, it looks like they might just end up falling. As Savashine ends up falling here in the mid lane, we're going to move ourselves into another quick little pause. We will be back momentarily.
Yeah, one of those things is I just want to see Kaiba Boy and Likely Throne just coordinate a little bit better. We see every time that they go in more coordinated, you know, Likely Throne takes a bunch of cooldowns off the table, and then Kaiba just goes crazy in these fights.
Oh, it's a lot easier to land your mage abilities when everybody's kind of slowed down and held in place. Death Dealers do end up securing that EFG. 5 members holding it around their belts right now. They're gonna back off, spend a little bit of gold, get some 3K pots, and maybe push down for a little bit of a Titan siege. Get ready to find out.
Yeah, should be able to see a lot getting done here off of that EFG. They do have the base cracked with that Phoenix over in the left lane, so should be able to leverage those fire minions into at least giving them a good siege.
I almost want to see the Mystic Sea Serpents set up an ambush and look to try to catch the Death Dealers off guard somewhere and maybe get a couple picks and see, because there isn't a lot of ward vision across the map. They could take advantage of that with a little bit of grouping.
Yeah, definitely. Just a little bit of grouping could go a long way here. I mean, Mystic Sea Serpents certainly aren't out of it yet. That last defense was so close. Very nearly had it, just so many low health bars, not quite able to get finished off.
Pushing up the Phoenix waves a little bit, but not too far. Those fire minion waves are going to be pushing in from the dual lane very shortly, as we see a 3-2 splitting over here, over on the solo and mid side of the Mystic Sea Serpents, getting ready for some Phoenix sieges. A little bit of a poke going out, nothing really landing.
Yeah, we do see Maman having to go deal with those fire waves, but not quite in a position well enough to go ahead and capitalize on that as she rotates back in towards the fight. Good poke on Sylvanas. Could spell the initiation. There it is. Ganesha ult force out.
My monster comes over the top, and it looks like the Thanatos finds one himself. 2 members down from the Mystic Sea Serpents, and so goes the Phoenix as well in the solo lane. And here comes Kaiba Boy, and there goes Kaiba Boy, trading his life for Tectonics. And it looks like the members of the Death Dealers are ready to put this game of the way as they are marching into the Titan room. with 4 members ready. Still very healthy. Titan down to half HP. Titan getting itself down, but it looks like they're falling back just a hair. There goes the Titan's HP, and that's gonna do it for game number 2 of Death Dealers versus Mystic Sea Serpents.
Yeah, just able to siege just a little bit better. Go ahead, they get the Sylvanas a little bit low, they capitalize off of that, and all of a sudden the members fall like dominoes. Good siege from Death Dealers to close out that game.
Fantastic end to a very long set. 2 great games by these teams, keeping it even the majority of the time, but it felt like there was a little bit of decision making that the team over on the side of the Mystic Sea Serpents weren't really all on the same page.
Yeah, just not quite as coordinated as they could have been, not able to get what they want off, and unfortunately they do get to lose that game, but definitely a lot of good information to look at for the next set. Definitely close games.
Very good from both of these teams. 2 very long games and 2 very hard fought games at that, but it looks like the Death Dealers are going to take the set 2-0. We're going to go to a nice little break, intermission in between. We got another set coming up for you guys momentarily. I'm Zach Vexel, though. Joining me was Ruler of Men. We will catch you guys very, very shortly. Soon. See you then.